You already know what time it is, man. The young goat in the building. Make sure you tune in to Tru Heel Heat podcast.
What's up, guys? It's Wolverine, that's Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, Brian Cage, and you're watching Tru Heel Heat. Who better? Nobody.
This is the knockout artist, Krssi, and if you're looking for some Tru Heel Heat, you better listen to them boys.
What's up, Tru Heel Heat? Tru Heel Heat.
What's up?
Tru Heel Heat.
Hey everybody, my name's SP3 and I'm an alcoholic. I have been sober for the past 3 days since I put out a tweet debating that if I wanted to make anti-AEW content, and I got trolls making fun of me saying that I already do make anti-AEW content, and I had other media people say I wasn't a journalist, even though I never said I was a journalist. I wouldn't give me media passes either. I mean, I'm just a dumbass black kid from Harlem. I mean, who would you give media passes to? Some lady that looks like she's got one too many Botox, or me? Anyway, this is Tru Heel Heat. Let's hit the intro before I get in more trouble. Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. There's Krssi Love. We are here for Tru Heel Heat 257, the latest edition of our flagship podcast, Money Walks and Talks, discussing the latest wrestling news, including talks falling apart between WWE and Mercedes Mone, as well as where she could possibly land next. WWE interested in working with STARDOM and Julia, looking like she's heading to WWE. Recap of this week in wrestling with AEW Dynamite, New Year Smash, Rampage, Collision, ROH TV, STARDOM, Dream Queendom. We got preview and predictions for NJPW's Wrestle Kingdom 18, which is next Thursday, as well as tonight in Long Island, in New York, AEW World and final predictions here. And of course, I am joined by the beautiful, the lovely, the always festive this time of season, princess of all the Tru Heels, Miss Krssi Love. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. Hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. I'm ready to take this tree down, though. It's in the way. Ready to take everything down.
I understand.
I'm over it.
Tia already took it down. She was like, it's past Christmas. It was like
Right, like
27.
they have till I give it till Tuesday. I promise you, this will be gone.
Yeah, if you still have it up in the second, you're lazy. You should only either you have the limit until the first, and then the second you take everything down.
They want me to keep it up to the days like the 16th. The 16th? Y'all didn't even help me put it up. How
What,
dare
for
you?
Martin Luther King Day?
Right.
We celebrating Martin Luther King Day with Christmas trees. I don't remember that part of the "I Have a Dream" speech.
No, neither do I. Neither do
I
I.
have a dream that we can keep up the Christmas tree. I had a dream today. What are we doing, kids? I love them, though. They're awesome.
I love them. Exactly. That's, you know.
But yes, we are here for our flagship podcast, where we talk all things professional wrestling for the past, 7 going on 7 years now. So welcome everyone for joining us. We got a lot to unwrap, a lot to discuss as we head into World's End tonight. And we appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Show that appreciation back. Drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to hear from all of you. And I went through a lot of the topics that we're going to discuss on the show in the opening, but I left one big one out, and we're probably going to start with that one. Just letting everybody know.
Sure.
Because some drama popped off on social media this morning, and we gotta unwrap it here. Yes. But we got a new member to the channel, LaVey Carter. Thank you for joining us. New member,
Mr. Carter.
Mr.
Welcome.
Carter joining us. Thank you, LC. We got King Ellie Show in the chat saying, "What's up, guys? AEW always has drama on pay-per-view days. Never cease to amaze me. Never cease to amaze me how this always happens." The Ahara King Mayhem, he's getting me right. He's gonna get me right and going here. He says, "Didn't we also hear that WWE and Punk meeting didn't fall through? LOL, just saying." No, we did not hear the same exact report that we're hearing on Mercedes Mone. We heard that Punk was not, that everybody within the company that Fightful had spoken to, that they had not heard if Punk was coming for Survivor Series. Never said anything about talks falling through. Never said anything about Punk going somewhere else. This is a lot different of a story, and I understand that people immediately want to bring that up. Immediately want to bring up the Cody thing. But guys, you're missing the big one. Triple H admitted that Sean Ross Sapp was right. Cody Rhodes went on national TV and thanked Sean Ross Sapp for reporting on his situation. Y'all are really becoming so ignorant in y'all reading comprehension and understanding of what's going on. If he reports something and the people that he is reporting on tell us it's true, then maybe we need to stop mentioning that as like the big, oh, maybe this is wrong too because he got this one wrong, but he didn't. Sean, see, I got your back, Sean. We do have a super chat donation here from Real Take Wrestling. Thank you so much, Real Take, always supporting us. We haven't seen you in the chat in a while, but I thank you for showing up, showing some holiday love to us. He says, "Happy World's End. Really hyped to be at the show tonight. What match are you looking forward to the most?" Krssi Love.
Well, it was supposed to be Swerve that was going to, get all of these belts, but that's not happening now. So I'm going to say I want to see I don't really know. Well, MJF and Samoa Joe.
Okay.
That should be good. What else is on the card? Because they put all the stuff last minute, and I now forgot. So you're gonna have to remind me most of them.
We're gonna go through. We're gonna do our final predictions at the end of the show. I'm gonna go with Kingston and Moxley in the Continental.
Well, I know you was gonna do that.
I am. Yeah, Kenny Kingston back in New York could get the biggest win of his career. That's
he's
the
gonna
story.
win too. It's so annoying. It's so predictable now. It's just like
Hey,
whatever.
why are you upset? We went from the days of Eddie Kingston never winning anything,
But
and
he
now
won
he
at Grand
wins.
Slam. That's enough.
Hey,
Okay,
they
like now he
found
gets
a way
three.
to
Now,
give him an even bigger win. I
he doesn't
understand you
deserve
want to
that
Swerve.
though. Why
Swerve's
does he
gonna
need
win
to
the world
win?
title. You're gonna look back on this when Swerve wins the world title, and you're gonna be like, "Yeah, I was kind of silly to complain about the Continental Classic for some Triple Crown championship when he's the world champion." I love that. I love that acceptance sigh.
This is the face I'm giving you right now.
That's what I'm gonna call that the acceptance sigh. We got Nikki Boy who says, "Holy shit, that's not how I thought the show would start. That's not even how I prepared that bit for. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
no, we
know what I
didn't.
had
Yeah,
prepared.
yeah.
I don't know what I had prepared for the bit, but I was like, I needed to reference that because that's probably the last time I will reference it. I handled it very professionally online, but I haven't been doing that on camera. Say Wrestling saying, damn. To that opening, we also got Kirby talking about that elephant in the room headline that I left out of our intro.
Yeah,
Kirby
what's
says-
happening? What's the tea? What's happening? I need to know.
Kirby says a little bit of the bubbly takes on a whole new meaning. Indeed,
All right.
indeed. Bright Bounds podcast says hello, Krssi. We got Nikki Boy says not till MLK Day. Yes, I am, Nikki Boy. I am talking about the Jericho drama. We're gonna get knee deep into that
Oh
one.
God, what Jericho did now? Oh my God.
We got
Is
Nikki
this
Boy
serious
to
right now?
saying SRS is right more often than not. Yeah, that's what it's like confusing why people bring
People don't
it
want to give
up.
him his credit. But
Yeah,
tell Sean Ross I have to give you some like credentials so you could go to be backstage like everybody else do. That's non-journalist.
I was like, I don't know if it's like because he won't hire me for one of his review shows on the main channel, but I'm on Fightful Overbook enough that I should apply under Fightful and I'll probably get in. But I don't know. I think it's because they denied me on other platforms like this one and Wrestle Talk and Sportskeeda that I'm like, I'm not gonna give y'all what you want. You probably want me to apply under
But
Fightful.
they usually have people that are non. What I don't understand is like, let's just call a spade a spade. You have people that are not journalists that are there.
A lot.
A lot of them are not journalists. They're podcast hosts just like you are, or don't do
And
anything.
they don't
wrestling-
prepare. They don't prepare for the post media scrum too.
They don't exactly, or they don't do anything wrestling related. They're just very popular on Twitter, and that's really what it is. Let's just call it what it is. Let's call people out on their bullshit because that's what it is. It's bullshit.
I ain't saying nothing, y'all.
I am not a journalist. I don't have any type of like. I'm not gonna apply. I don't do those things. But if you give me one, I'll go. Sure. And I'm gonna be there in lucky and have my question ready.
Absolutely, as you should. We got another super chat donation from Nikki Boy, the Negro Buckpick Jackson. He says the THH Awards needed a Hater of the Year category, SP3, because Nigel McGuinness would have won by a landslide. Yo, leave Nigel alone. Nigel gonna win an award. I am sure of that. And that is a perfect time, Nikki Boy. Thank you for the segue. So we can promote next week's big show, Tru Heel Heat 258, which will have the 7th annual Tru Heel Heat year-end awards voted on by all of you right here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, as well as on Patreon. Romeo has come up with a very intensive list of categories. He is known for his intensive forms that he puts out for the Tru Heel Heat Prediction Championship. So we shouldn't be surprised that he went as hard for the year-end awards. But that is right now. It's available on patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat for our Patreon backers. It's been up there since yesterday. And I think I'm putting the link right now in the chat for you guys over on Facebook and on YouTube, so you guys can vote as well for next week's year-end awards. We'll have some special guests joining us to read out some of these winners, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Always fun, are you? Always. I get to wear a blazer. That's always fun. Good times.
He dresses up all the time. Yeah.
Every single year. Mel saying, I tell you what I'm more excited for, but chances are I'm going to know the results before I watch the show because it's New Year's Eve tomorrow and I know I'm staying up late, so I'm sleeping tonight.
Hey,
Understandable.
do what you gotta do,
Understandable.
Belle. We understand.
Just stay away from social media, Belle. Just wake up, put on the show. I've done it before. I've done it with New Japan before. Just wake up, don't go to social media, stay away from the YouTubes, stay away from the Facebooks, from the Twitters. It's gonna be all right. You can watch the show in peace. True Draw Josh in the chat saying, remember, guys, SP3 is not a journalist. He's just a dude from Harlem who loves wrestling. Absolutely. That's my tagline. That's my tagline. Jerome YouTube out here. We also, and so you guys got the link right here. You guys can vote on the Tru Heel Heat year-end awards. Senior Nerd in the chat, he says, if the Taylor Swift guy can be in a WWE media scrum, what about SP3? Hey, leave our friend Steve Fall alone. He knows what gets the clicks. He asked that question for
there's a difference, but see, Steve Fall actually is like an actual like journalist.
Yes.
Like
he works for NBC Sports.
Correct. Like, let's not do that about Steve. Steve is actually an actual journalist and does the wrestling thing. So Steve has legitimate reason to be there. Exactly. Others are not.
Exactly.
And he's a friend of the show, so don't do that.
And whether you like the question or not, did he get a response? Was it the most memorable thing from that press conference? Yeah, I would say all of that is yeah. Yeah, I mean, he accomplished what he needed to. It was one of the more memorable things. I think that was the same press conference as Jay and Cody. So that was the most memorable thing.
It was.
But that was the second most memorable thing in that question. We do have another.
He knows the next time to do better.
Another super chat donation from Santa Will Chisholm. Thank you so much, Will. Always supporting us. He says, let's be real, SP3. These companies don't have you at their media scrum because you tell the truth, good and bad.
That's true. You're absolutely right, Will.
I thought you were leading somewhere else because we did get a comment on AE Ramble that said, imagine where Tru Heel Heat would be without the liability of Jimmy Macaram.
My apologies, friend, because TK definitely watches the show. He trolls it, or his people trolls it, and that's why they won't let you be a part of the show. Let's just call it what it is, friend.
Won't let me shine because Jimmy.
But AE Ramble is one of the best shows, so we have to keep it on air.
Exactly.
We enjoy it, and we cannot remove it off of the show because when I don't watch it, I watch you guys when I'm at work.
Check out Jimmy's interview with our good friend Tom Talks Rubbish. Check out Krssy's interview. Jimmy's interview. He let everybody know we've known each other since high school. He's known me for 2 decades, and he says he still sometimes sees the 17-year-old asshole that I want. I commend myself for that dedication. We start off every flagship podcast with our roll call, thanking all of you who's supporting us across social media right here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel and beyond. Our top 3 conversation starters on our Tru Heels group page on Facebook, Tru Heel Trinity. We got number 3, a new account. We got Vegas Bad Boys podcast. We got number 2, Joe Bellini. Nice. And number 1, once again, Stewie Palmer, who's on his Negro Buck Nick Jackson streak at this point, Stewie Palmer. So congrats to you. Patreon backers, we got Vala B, Alan Weinstein, Negro Buck. We got Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris, Austin K, Robert, Steve, 5th Generation Carney, Ladarius, John, Dan, Kobe, Dolores, Don Martin, DJ Eric, Marcus Ryan, James, Alan, Santo, Queen Monet, Christopher and Victoria Kid. I saw Christopher Kid in the chat. What's up, good brother? I got Nick Tim, and we got our newest member, Michael Knight. Michael Knight, I saw you sent us a message. I sent you a message back. Make sure to reply. We'll make whatever you want to see available to you over at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. But that brings us to what we missed, and we're going to start off with AEW Dynamite this week. New Year Smash. The show was back up in viewership above 800,000 viewers, 843,000 to be exact. And it was all about coming to a conclusion and setting up our final in the AEW Continental Classic as we had Jon Moxley defeating Jay White and Swerve Strickland in an absolutely excellent
Excellent, yes.
three-way opener to win the Gold League of the Continental Classic. John Moxley picking up the win, getting the pinfall victory over Switchblade Jay White, who was just a superb heel in this one.
Yes, he
Swerve
was.
is always great, but I thought Jay White was the MVP, and using the steel chair to get heat in that matchup, that was just great for me. Wow, even better than that one, though, you had Eddie Kingston beating Bryan Danielson.
Oh my God, yes, wow. I mean, his chest looked like meat, like was on the grill.
In an absolutely phenomenal, violent, brutal encounter to win the Blue League of the AEW Continental Classic to set up Mox versus Kingston 3 in AEW at World's End. And then post-match, we got a superb promo exchange, fabulous promos from both Kingston and Moxley to build the finals tonight. You also had Don Callis family with their Boxing Week celebration, which led to the return of Sammy Guevara to confront the family and accuse Callis of never checking on him or the baby, and then getting mad at him, having a picture, a nice painting of his child and him. Sammy gets mad at him for that.
Yeah, I was like, that was a beautiful picture. I don't understand it, but whatever.
Don told Sammy not to be as big of a disappointment of a wrestler as he will be as a parent, which led to Sammy shoving him down. This led to the family turning on Sammy until Chris Jericho made the save to reunite with Sammy until they were jumped by Ricky Starks and Big Bill, and it was Sting and Darby Allin who made the save to set up an 8-man tag for World's End. On the women's side, you had Sky Blue picking up a win over Chris Statlander in a solid bout, thanks to help from TBS champion Julia Hart. Post-match, Hart in blue jumped Statlander until Willow Nightingale made the save. And then in the main event, it was the Devil's Masked Men defeated MJF to win the ROH World Tag Team Championship after Samoa Joe was shown attacked backstage, only for it to be revealed as a ploy when the Devil said, "Pleasure doing business with you," and Joe then blasted MJF in the back with a steel chair and laid him out with a muscle buster to stand tall to end the show. So what did you think about this week's show? I felt like this week's show was a tale of two shows. When it was about the Continental Classic, this was among the best wrestling television you can possibly see. When it comes to, the Devil stuff, it's been hit or miss for the last couple of weeks, so depends on what you like with that. But, I mean, no one can explain to me the good, outside of Don Callis, of that Don Callis Boxing Week segment that felt like a Franken segment. Krssi Love, what was your highlight and low light from this show? I think you're muted.
Sorry. I definitely think the low light was definitely the Don Callis segment. I was like, where are we going with this? Like, why are we having this? And I was like, wait, is Boxing Week a thing? And I know that there's Boxing Day in certain countries, but I didn't know there was an actual whole week that they have. And I was like, well, what are you doing Boxing Week? Like, what happened? And I asked my husband, I was like, he was like, it's just another day for people to be off. Because I was like, what happens on Boxing Day? He was like, people just don't go to work. I was like, oh, okay. And it's the day after Christmas. And then, that's what happens. So you don't. It's just a day.
They need that in America.
They actually do, because people that have to go to work, the next day right after like Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. That's just horrible.
They should have a Boxing Day the day after Christmas,
Yep.
And also a Boxing Day the day after the Super Bowl.
After the Super Bowl?
Yeah, people be hungover, be all fat and bloated the day after the Super Bowl, and then they gotta go to work.
This is true.
Need that break.
But definitely that was my low light. I was like, Sammy, you're mad at this beautiful picture. They were great pictures. I don't know what, for the poor guys that had to be in that segment. But my highlight was definitely the two matches for the classic, which was the opener and the semi-closer, I guess. But great matches between both of them. They did not disappoint at all. Like, they gave us some, Kingston and Bryan, wow. That was, I knew it was going to be good, but that was like good. Like, it was like he He must have slapped his chest. I lost count after a while, friend, because his chest. I mean, he beat him down. I was like, and he's still moving. I was like, I know he need like a heating pad and like ice when he go back home. I was like, poor Bree. Bree's just like, you just keep doing this to yourself, friend.
I literally said that during the matchup. I was like, I can only imagine him coming on to his wife, and his chest is the same color as his tights that he
yes,
to put in the laundry.
And then he got to take his kids to school with the eye patch. I was like, bro, like, what are we doing?
You don't have to wear the eye patch when he's taking the kids to school.
I mean, you got to keep the gimmick going. I'm just saying.
That's dedication. That's 1990s. That's 1990s dedication. We do have another super chat donation from Trey Jones talking about the Franken segment. He says, we don't want Sammy. It was just so bad because the minute Sammy came out, I was like, oh no, are they about to turn him babyface again? Yes. He literally was a heel for a cup of coffee. It was literally a week and a half.
And he just got back. Like, what do we do? But they need something. They need a filler. Omega's gone. I know what they're doing. They're not fooling anybody. We know what we're doing. We have to make him now back that way because, yes.
I won't front. Big man dogs. This is what I thought in that segment. I was like, Don Callis is the babyface? I was like, that was pretty nice of him. He's been hauling that painting around for 2 months, and you're unappreciated.
And you're unappreciative. And I was like, that was actually a really good painting. You and all the guy, he's like, who told you to put my baby on it? I was like, oh my God, here we go. Like, this was terrible. That was terrible. Terrible.
Parenting Girl saying Chris Jericho needs to take a long break. We got Bell who says the Sammy Jericho shit is reminding me of my toxic on-off relationship when I was 18. It's a grooming relationship. That's even worse. Yeah. John Stack King saying Krssy's retreat rotating is amazing. Yes.
Thank you, John.
It's the greatest scenery there. We got Shay Nasty who says Kingston Bryan match may be the best of the tournament. It was the best of the tournament.
I think it was. It had to be, yeah. And then
their previous match was like probably first before this one, and then this one was better than that one.
I love that he kept saying, he was a bum, and then they had signs that say he's a bum. I was like, that is amazing. Like, Eddie Kingston is a bum, and then my husband was like, that's really harsh. Like, why would he call him a bum?
But I love Kingston saying, I'll take that. I'll eat that. I'm the king of the bums. I'm the king of the bums.
And then they said, and then they were a king of the underdogs, and that's why he had to win.
Great storytelling. The Continental Classic is among the best things AEW has done in 2023. Like, it got so many people over. It told some great stories, and just the overall story with Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson, and then it leading to Eddie versus Moxley. Like, the final hurdle for him to overcome is his best friend and the one person in AEW he's never been able to beat. So it's great storytelling.
Whatever. Now you want to do storytelling. Great. Now you want to incorporate stories.
I told you this weeks ago. I said there was 3 good options here. I said Swerve, Bryan, and Kingston. We got it. We got the Kingston part. The Kingston part is here. So we are about to get into a lot of drama and sticky information for us to speak about. So it is always best that you have a lawyer on hand when you talk about things like this. So without further ado, after a long hiatus away from away from the channel and away from the flagship podcast, he's been on his honeymoon. He's now a freshly married man. He is the stat husband.
Yeah, the stat husband. I love that.
John Martin.
Actually, it's funny. I actually am wearing the
stat hubby. Stat hubby. There we go.
Colleen has one that says wifey.
Love it.
No, I just got finished recording a review of Honor, and I was like, oh yeah, you guys are live. Go over to YouTube. I see Krssy's tree rotating. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, I still got StreamYard loaded up here. I might as well jump in for a little bit. And as it turns out, you happen to be moving on to this topic.
Perfect.
Because you know what I was gonna say in the comments was Did Sammy sign some kind of NDA for something that whenever Jericho like needs a quick thing, he's able to just pull
Just
Sammy
jump
out
on
of whatever
him.
he's doing
Yep,
and pull him back into there to be connected to Jericho, so that Jericho can get a little bit of some love or heat or whatever the case may be back.
It seemingly feels like that, doesn't it? It really does feel like Sammy is under some type of NDA where he always has to go back to Jericho. We got Santa Will Chisholm in the chat with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Will. He says, "Am I wrong for not feeling nothing for tonight's main event? As a Joe fan, that hurts, but when I see Black Ninjas, it killed me."
Right. So, like, okay, see, I walked away for like 2 seconds and I come back and I see, Joe beating up, MJF. I'm like, damn, what did I miss that fast? I was like, I went to go get something to drink. I came back and it was over. I was like, what the heck? Like,
I think that this was a good idea and premise, just
Right.
executed poorly.
Okay.
Listen,
This whole storyline.
I went from having an injured tag team champion on Review of Honor that don't show up to having people who I don't even know who the champions are. I don't know if it improved, if it got better for me or it got worse.
That's the thing.
Hopefully, the double review is the reveal of everyone. And
yes.
That's what I think would have regained a lot of the people that were out of this, because Jimmy, for example, has been out of this storyline for about a month.
I'm the same.
He's been out of it with this storyline for about a month now, and I feel like at the build to this show, if you were gonna make the whole main event build about this storyline, you needed to start revealing people. That was the only way to keep interest. Was to start revealing some of the henchmen.
I remember seeing Bully Ray talking about the Aces and Eights, kind of some of the similarities. And while many people have disliked the Aces and Eights storyline, from when it started to about I want to say like maybe right after Bully regained the world title, I personally really liked the Aces and Eights storyline. But what was really good about it was the slow reveal of who was in the group, because granted, some of the faces we had no idea really who these people were, and like Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff. But when it came to Devon, you were like, but why would Devon be part of the Aces and Eights attacking his own brother? So it added more wrinkles to it. In this situation, you just have people going, I think underneath the mask that guy has a mustache, so it must be Dax. Like that's what we have right now, and it doesn't work.
It rings hollow, and it just doesn't create interest and intrigue into the whole story. It falls flat.
There we go, flat.
Christopher Kidd saying, "It was a family portrait. I would be so touched." Yes, exactly. Like
that was like the funniest reason to be mad at someone. He was like, "Who told you could put a picture of my kid?" It's like, bro, you put your kid on Instagram multiple times. You made a video that posts on YouTube with showing Luna like a couple days after the birth, like, "Hey, mama and baby are fine."
Bro, they gave her a 1 month birthday party. Like, what? I was like, you do that at the half birthday, not the 1 month. I was like, wait, wasn't the baby just
when that happened? My first thought was maybe he's still concussed. I don't know. Like it's just
hey, to each his own. It just was just so. And did y'all all peep that his face broke? That he tried to keep the straight, serious face, but it broke, and he slightly laughed and smiled when he said, "Who told you could put my baby in that painting?"
You can hear it in his voice, dummy.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was so bad.
It's terrible.
The worst part of that whole segment was that they broke the fucking portrait of Callis and Kyle punching kangaroos in Australia. That was amazing. That should be. I want that to put on my wall. Like that's amazing.
The segment was just so like patched on together that it's overshadowing the fact that Don Callis was great in that segment.
That part. Leave it to Sammy to go fuck it up.
But of course, Sting can come out and save the day and get everybody cheering, so everybody thinks it's all right.
Actually, I meant to ask, what is even the connection there?
Right.
They used to be rivals.
Why would Starby? Why would Starby? That's what I call Sting and Starby. Why would they come out to save Jericho and Guevara of all people? Like it doesn't make sense. I'm just like, guys, like, what are you doing?
I have no
Terrible.
clue. It was just Sting and Darby are the heroes. They're good guys, so they make the same. It's like, all right, sure.
That guy was like, I need to take a break from practicing not dying while I climb Mount Everest to come and save Sammy Guevara of all people, even though I didn't know that any of this was going to happen.
Nope, it was just time. Shay Nasty, thank you so much for a huge super chat donation. Thank you so much. He says it's time to put this Masked Man storyline to bed at tonight's pay-per-view.
Please do.
Totally agree that the execution was poorly done. There's a good story here, and I feel like the follow-up there can be good with the follow-up if they just make the right decision.
It's just been going up and down. It's not consistent. That's just the whole thing.
Guys, I'm just gonna tell y'all. Don't do it. Don't do the swerve. Don't, just because everybody thinks it's Adam Cole doesn't mean that it shouldn't be Adam Cole. That's the only one that makes sense here, especially with Joe saying that he's been working with the devil.
Wait.
Who was it that convinced MJF to have the match with Joe? Who convinced MJF to work with Joe? It all makes it. You have a perfectly logical story here. Don't fuck it up with a swerve.
Before you go there, though, don't forget that they had the devil speak once, and then from then started using text because everyone was like, "That sounds like Jack Perry. That sounds like Jungle Boy."
Hey, and there's all those glass spots, so they can make it make sense why it's that.
Oh, don't get me started.
But no, I have been on this mission for what feels like 2 or 3 months now. Jack Perry must join the patriarchy. He is Will Smith in season 4 of Fresh Prince. He tried to go out on his own, live his own life away from Uncle Phil or Daddy, and now he's back and he's got to live in a damn pool house because the house is full of the patriarchy.
That would be great rehab for Perry's return. It would be an instant shot for his heel character, which was decently connecting, but not like gangbusters before he left. So I mean, it would work for me. Yeah,
and also it would make sense of what Ed said in that first promo, because when he said, "Oh, Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus are just gonna learn everything from you, Christian Cage, and throw you out to good," and that was the only part of that promo that didn't make sense because I was like, "That's not Nick Wayne's kind of mindset or attitude or personality. That's not Luchasaurus. That is Jack Perry, though." If Jack Perry comes into the patriarchy to eventually convince Wayne and Luchasaurus to turn against Christian, that makes a whole bunch more sense. And then you immediately have heels for Edge and Christian to feud against.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, it just makes all the sense in the world. Every time I try to move on, y'all said another super chat donation. I appreciate y'all. That's why these podcasts wind up being like 2-3 hours now, Krssi, because they love us. Will Chisholm saying that did feel like babyface Cena helping Brandy is like, didn't he RKO your dad?
That's the sad part.
Bunted him in the head. All right, it is now time to talk about the big news story that is kind of going like wildfire through social media this morning, and we're gonna go to the beginning of the week because this all started on Christmas, y'all. This is like a Christmas story, yes. Because just before Christmas, CM Punk and Ace Steel's attorney Stephen P. New revealed that regarding the incident that took place at AEW All Out, what's now nicknamed as Brawl Out Incident, he says it appears most of the parties involved in the incident are all subject to legal non-disclosure agreements, according to New, barring them from publicly talking about what took place at the Now Arena last year. However, Chris Jericho is now claiming that he didn't sign an NDA. Also, during his appearance on the Rip Rogers podcast, New revealed that Ace Steel's wife was the only present at the incident who wasn't not subject to an NDA. He said the only person, and granted she's not completely objective or unbiased, the only person not subject to an NDA and not subject to confidentiality provisions is Ace's wife, Lucy. Maybe one day she tells the story. Chris Jericho wrote in response to Stephen P. News' comment saying, "I didn't sign one." It's unknown what involvement, if any, Jericho had in the actual brawl. Following the incident, a backstage rumor stated that Jericho allegedly spoke to CM Punk after the brawl and told him to his face that he was a cancer to the locker room and a detriment to the company. Punk is said to have responded to Jericho by saying it wasn't his business and that he needed to leave. Sources close to Punk reportedly informed Fightful that the meeting took place. Additionally, there's footage at the post-media scrum of Chris Jericho whispering to AEW president Tony Khan, "We got to talk after this." Some shit went down, indicating the brawl took place. Also, all the parties involved in the incident were supposedly put on temporary suspensions following All Out. However, Jericho was not put on suspension. CM Punk
True.
was later fired from AEW earlier in September, stemming from a separate incident. Of course, what took place at AEW All in London with the aforementioned Jack Perry at Wembley Stadium. Less than 3 months later, he returned to WWE for the first time in nearly 10 years at Survivor Series War Games. In a post on Instagram talking about the return, Jericho commented, "Congratulations," with 3 fire emojis for Punk. During the Rumor and Innuendo podcast, though, this is where things are going to go left.
Yep.
Are y'all ready? Y'all
Yep.
ready now? Okay, this is what happened yesterday now. During the Rumor and Innuendo podcast, someone that we've had on the channel here, Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling, spoke briefly about Chris Jericho, and he made mentions of stories about Jericho that may surface. And he also used Harvey Weinstein, infamous Hollywood producer who was very much canceled and exposed during the whole speaking out, like Hollywood cancel speaking out movement. And this is what Nick Hausman had to say. He says, "One of the things that is so disconcerting to me about the universal praise that Chris Jericho receives, and I'm not going to deny the points that MJF made about the impact Chris had in the early days of AEW, but when you have that kind of clout and you have that kind of power, it's very important to use that responsibly. I mean, Harvey Weinstein won a lot of Oscars. Harvey Weinstein produced a lot of very popular films.
Wait,
Harvey
what?
Harvey Weinstein is now in jail. I'm not saying that is happening to Chris, but the narrative can quickly turn if you're hiding a lot of skeletons in your closet." The ISO wrestling account then shared another older tweet, and while blurring out who sent that original tweet, the message was not blurred out whatsoever. And this accusation is pretty disturbing. So I'm going to give everybody a few seconds. If you want to pause and you want to go a little bit further, this is the trigger warning. 3, 2, 1. So here's the deal. You don't quit the hottest fed going today, AEW, without reason. I have it from people in the know that Kylie, referring to Kylie Ray, was asked to go to Chris Jericho's room with the understanding that others would be there. When she got there, it was just him. He made a pass at her. No other details are given, and she freaked out. It was also noted that an original accuser of David Starr, another independent wrestler who is getting a lot of notoriety and was kind of exposed during the speaking out, not kind of, he was exposed during the speaking out movement, and he completely got wiped off the face of the business.
Yeah, the start of the speaking out movement was David Starr.
Yes. So they put out a tweet, apparently the original accuser, saying, "Sometimes I stop to wonder how many young women out there are wondering if it's safe to post about Chris Jericho yet." Now, honestly, we would not be sharing this post if it's not for the comment under this one, because that is, yes, Kylie Ray, who responded and reacted to this thread with a lot of information, and it got a lot more attention after Kylie Ray reacted to it with a heart emoji. Although she did not use any words, the heart emoji does say a lot and does kind of confirm what this rumor is saying. We will have to see if Chris Jericho responds to these allegations. They are only allegations right now, so we want to emphasize that. So we're not going to take this as absolute fact. For right now, it's just rumors and an allegation. There are some pretty heavy narratives going around right now, but it's rumor and innuendo at this point. That being said, it seems that this story is gaining a lot of momentum right now. So, Krssi Love, you said this is your first time finding all of this out, learning about this news that really kind of got going this morning. What do you think?
I'm gonna need Chris Jericho to go away somewhere and don't come back. Because at this point it's like, what are you doing? Like, you're really trash for doing all of this shit. Like, I like, no one was bringing this stuff up but you. And you were one of the people that had accusation and it went away quietly, and you still working. So I don't understand why you would bring this stuff up. See, people like that is trash. I can't co-sign stupidness like this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Jericho is one of my favorite wrestlers,
Yeah, and it's
of
just
all
like,
time, and I put him in like the rarefied air of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time for
don't get
everything
like
that he's
Terrence
accomplished
now.
and his legacy. But if this shit is true, AEW, you gotta do something. This happened under your house. If you have to now do an investigation. There at least needs to be an investigation, because this is an accusation of this is not an accusation like the Ric Flair thing.
Right.
The Ric Flair thing and hiring Ric Flair, that's a choice. But none of the stuff that Ric Flair has been accused of or the allegations against Ric Flair were in your promotion. We're under your house. This one was, and this is a big one.
And don't forget
really bad.
When the information came out about what Sammy said about Sasha Banks, that was a podcast that he had done before
Years
he was
ago.
with AEW.
Yes.
And he still got suspended, and he still had to go to sensitivity training.
Yep. So you have to do the same thing and keep the same energy. Don't do that because he's one of the guys that, help put money to your business or whatever. I don't know, but like, still figure the shit out.
Also, sorry, I had to change my shirt because somehow this is CM Punk's fault.
Of course it is. Of course you put on a CM Punk shirt. Oh man, I mean, Nick. We've said before, we've had Nick Hausman on here, and we told him to his face, we was like, "You got the journal, you got the CM Punk journal." So I don't know if Nick was reading one of the journals and just, I mean, I've been seeing people like talk down to Nick, and whether you think that the reasoning why he said something was malicious, I don't think that it's fair to say that he's using someone else's trauma to get the one up on Jericho, because he did put the comment under Jericho's first post to the lawyer when he went off on the lawyer talking about he didn't sign any NDAs and stuff. He was like, Nick Hausman made reference to, what about the NDAs you made other people sign? And now he says this on the podcast. I don't know if he had this initial kind of incident in mind when he said it. We don't know, but he said something, and what we are seeing is, through the tea leaves, is that there's a little bit of truth in what he said. So I messaged him and I was like, well, thank you for speaking up, because apparently you just put a flashlight on something that was hiding in the darkness of All Elite Wrestling that needed to be, it needs to at least be investigated by them. John, you are our expert here when it comes to the law side of this. What do you think about the whole exchange between Stephen P. New and Jericho, as far as Jericho not signing an NDA? Which, I mean, Jericho, everything we've heard from Brawl Out, you weren't even in the fucking room.
Like, what?
Like, you weren't even in the fucking room.
You know that kid that's at school that always want to be involved in everything and want to be down? He's that person. He has to be involved with everything, but you're not helping the situation at all. Like, go shut up and go sit down somewhere.
So there's a number of different ways to look at it. Let's look at it from the part where Jericho's full of shit. If he's full of shit, then he's an idiot, because why are you, like Krssi saying, you have absolutely no grounds to be talking about this, injecting yourself or anything like that on like 4 o'clock in the morning on Christmas of all days.
Yeah, that's what else to do.
You know, but that early in the morning, any day of the week, you probably just why are you doing this? But on Christmas, it's supposed to be one of the happiest days of the year. Like, why are you like your kids have presents? You probably got something for your wife. Maybe it's another plane ticket to the Capitol building. I don't know. But like, there are other things that you could be doing at 4:00 in the morning on a Christmas. That's assuming that he's full of shit. Let's go on the other side and let's assume that he is saying the truth, that he was actually there, either in the hallway or potentially in the room. One, that's just adding a fun wrinkle just to the number of people that showed up to this guy's locker room. Who, I mean, you could make the argument didn't need to be there at all. Like, it could have been handled a couple days later, whatever the case may be. That just adds to why someone might have a reaction that ended up happening. You're just adding to the number of people that is going to make someone feel threatened. Anybody. That's not me trying to defend Punk in any way, shape, or form. It's just like, well, now there's 3 people plus Mega plus CD plus Nakazawa plus Cutler plus Jericho. That's now 8 people that walked into this person's locker room, and it's him, his dog. Ace either was or wasn't there. Like, Ace was allegedly either in the hallway and came running or what, and a woman on
running
crutches.
in with a chair.
Yeah,
no, that's been confirmed. That's
okay,
not.
So Ace isn't there. So literal. So let's like look at it from Punk's perspective. Punk's like, I'm in the locker room with a friend's wife who's on crutches and a dog.
Can we talk about that Jericho situation?
No.
You're gonna make this about Punk. I'm just gonna be like, no. Ace Steel was Raleigh in Boondocks during the nigga moment episode. Who said, "Oh, y'all fighting? Throw a chair. Let's go."
I'm agreeing with you, and I'm not using this to say anything about that. I'm saying that Jericho had no reason to be there whatsoever. But if he was, this is actually a further indictment on the AEW legal team, because if he didn't sign an NDA when everybody else did, and he was not suspended when everybody else was, it's a larger indictment on your legal team for being absolutely inept at their job.
100%.
And if anybody needs to be signing an NDA, it should be the one guy that actually tweets and talks the most out of anybody involved in the entire situation.
That part.
Punk doesn't really tweet or talk. Ace doesn't really tweet or talk. The Bucks don't really do that either. Like, they infamously stopped really using Twitter and just put things up in their bio page when they want to make comments and things. Kenny really only does promotion and things like that and talks about video games. No one really pays attention to what Cutler and Nakazawa does. The dog doesn't have a Twitter account. So it's only Jericho that you really need to worry about. If he's the person that didn't sign an NDA, what are you guys doing?
Then no one should have signed the NDA.
Like, what are you guys doing? So if he's telling the truth, then I have to laugh even more than I already do at AEW's legal department. And if he's full of shit, I get to laugh even more at Jericho. It's a win-win for me either way. Now, when it comes to NDAs and what they are, an NDA is it literally is what you think it is. It's a non-disclosure agreement. It's a non-discussion agreement. If I sign, I've had to sign NDAs for work. I've had to work on NDAs for other people. You are basically establishing a contract, because it is agreement, contract, whatever word you want to use, with another party that both sides are putting themselves under some kind of restriction, that they are not going to talk about an event, a topic, whatever the case you want to say. And part of that is, in any kind of contract, you have a couple elements that have to happen. You have to offer, acceptance, consideration, and signature. So consideration is the big portion here. Usually for consideration, like what this says, like offer would be, Sid says, I offer you a spot on Tru Heel Heat. And in exchange for this offer on a spot on Tru Heel Heat, I will pay you X number of dollars. That's offer. Acceptance is me going, I accept your offer of putting me on Tru Heel Heat and paying me X number of dollars. The consideration technically can be anything really, but usually, more often than not, the consideration aspect is what Sid says he's going to pay me to be on Tru Heel Heat. So oftentimes when you have people sign NDAs, there's a payout of some kind from one party to another to guarantee, in essence, you are buying silence. And so it's interesting that there are so many NDAs when it comes to Tony Khan in general. Whether it's people like Cody, whether it's CM Punk now with this brawl out and the All In situation, whether it's generally speaking talent talking about NDAs. Cornette's talked about how when he came in as originally as a consultant, they said no. Tony had him sign an NDA. There's interesting aspect there. And then Houseman talking about NDAs that Jericho has potentially had people sign. So what is that really when it comes to the Kylie Ray situation? And more importantly, is it possible for Kylie Ray to break the NDA if she desired? So usually if you have an NDA, there's going to be clauses there that say what happens when you break an NDA or if you break an NDA. Usually it's I can take you to court and, show that you breached contract. You're going to owe me not just what I paid you, but also damages, because usually you sign the NDA about something you don't want people to talk about. So it's going to be damaging, that news coming out. But an NDA, generally speaking, cannot cover criminal activity. So if I committed a crime against someone and then I said, I want you to sign an NDA, they can still sign it, but they would be able to break it if there was criminal activity involved. So it'll be interesting to see if Kylie decides to speak about it, not just because, one, what she could say, but just simply the fact that she is saying something would indicate that there was some kind of criminal activity that was involved, and whether people want to argue whatever did happen or didn't happen rises to the level of criminal activity, that's, a different conversation about what should be legal or what shouldn't be legal. The fact of the matter is that the law is the law. So whatever she's going to talk about could potentially be criminal activity. So it'll be really interesting to see over the next few days, because she has never talked about anything when it comes to AEW. She's
always been quiet. Yeah.
Right. At most, she's said, it just wasn't a right fit. I didn't feel, like as though it was going to be great for me, and I wanted to go a different way with my career.
Right.
Now, what's also interesting about all of this is that Kylie Ray is someone, by her own volition and her own admission, has had difficulty with mental health. And, she famously no-showed Bound for Glory. She no-showed.
Was it 2020? It was Bound for Glory 2020, the first one in the pandemic,
correct. Right? Yeah. And she no-showed, I think it was she no-showed a WWE tryout as well, or there may have been some kind of issues, or she wasn't able to make it because.
Well, she got onto WWE main event, but
right.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what happened there. If anyone was in the chat. I remember we talked about it here. But.
Yeah, so like there is something that's interesting to see for a number of reasons, is how does her mental health factor into what happened or what didn't happen? Is that was that a reason to, like, she just was like it could, meaning to say that whatever happened with Jericho, assuming something did, to the average person may not seem as though it was anything serious. But for somebody who does deal with mental health issues, for her, it could have been a triggering thing. It could have been something serious. Also to remember is that all of these things happened in 2019. We didn't start hearing about any kind of mental health issues that she had until 2020. So there's also the question of, do any of her mental health issues stem from anything that may or may not have happened with Chris Jericho in said locker room? So there's a lot of different layers. There's a lot of different nuance to this whole thing. From a legal perspective, it's a fucking mess. And AEW really, like, you would think that because she left, because she signed an NDA, maybe AEW already knows about these things. You would also hope that if Brianna Sperry, Kylie Ray, is going to Tony and saying, look, I know you signed me. I know you brought me into this company, but I need to leave. And she doesn't want to talk about anything because her NDA could just be with Jericho, not specifically with Jericho and AEW. that Tony, of his own volition, would have conducted some kind of investigation back in 2019. Hopefully. But
One would hope.
yeah, we'll see how all of this shakes out. But it's been a very interesting day or week for wrestling from that perspective. And I did watch that interview because the same episode that Houseman and Carpellis are talking about this thing with Jericho. Part of what they did was they interviewed Stephen P. New. And guys, from a general legal perspective, it's a pretty fun interview just to see, because Carpellis is a lawyer himself. So seeing, a lawyer ask a question of another lawyer and the lawyer try to figure out what's the easiest way for me to say something without revealing anything, because that's a very important thing for you guys to know just generally in life. And also they talk about IP law as it comes to relates to the Yeet trademark with WWE. And if you are anybody, I mean, not just wrestling, but if you are anybody in general who has any form of intellectual property, knowing how to protect that is very important. So that's my little PSA.
No, thank you for letting us all know about the NDAs, and it's a lot. It's a lot
It's
to
a lot.
unwrap.
Yeah.
But from when Kylie left AEW, it was just so abrupt, so out of nowhere, when it looked like the company was kind of going to make her their Bailey. She was going to be the underdog babyface for the women's division. Britt Baker could have been like the heel for the women's division. They had Nyla Rose at that time. They had their Joshi stars. So yeah, it just came out of nowhere, but it makes a whole lot of sense. And you made another excellent point of, is the mental health thing, was it like a triggering event, whatever happened with Jericho? And you also made a great point that Jericho fucked up from the beginning of inviting her to your locker room with no one else there. You want other witnesses there, regardless of what you plan to do.
You're a married man. Like, you're not supposed to be doing certain things like that, friend.
Yes, even if that was your initial idea of inviting her to the locker room and do something, I'd rather someone be there to lie for me. Someone else was in the room and they said, I ain't do nothing. I ain't do nothing. There's someone in AEW that would have lied for you.
That may explain Sammy's NDA and why he has to keep coming back to help Jericho all the time.
Points were made. I mean, points were made. We do have a super chat donation from Santa Will Chisholm. Thank you so much. And we try to make light and entertain when we talk about subjects like this, but in all seriousness, we want to send our love, support, best wishes to Kylie Ray. That's most important through all of this, because we can only imagine the trauma that she went through in the initial situation, and now it's being brought out 4 years later.
Colleen's first independent show was Freelance Wrestling, and Kylie Ray at the time was the world champion. She loves Kylie Ray. She's got to meet Kylie Ray. When she found out that Kylie was going to be signed to AEW or was going to be part of AEW, she was super happy. And then when a couple months later, I was like, oh yeah, she's not going to be there anymore. She was like, but why? Like, what is going on? Yeah. Yep. And I was going to bring that part up, but that,
we got Santa Will Chisholm, who says, remember that report of Chris Jericho calling Punk a cancer? If this stuff is true, he got some nerve. But once again, a big AEW show and something happens. That's a man who might use his poem.
I think he was trying to be a little politically correct. I think he meant PEEN.
Yes. Trying to use the peen, and kind of Justin on the episode that we had him in the Smart Psychology podcast on here, and he talked about how this year has that's been the whole thing. This whole year of 2023, that despite AEW consistently producing some of the best wrestling pay-per-views of the year, something has happened as far as bad PR. Revolution, outstanding from the first match to the greatest Iron Man match of all time. What were people talking afterwards about that? MJF poured alcohol on a kid.
Yep.
Double or nothing. Yeah, polarizing event because of the crowd, because of Adam Cole, Chris Jericho, the Chris Statlander coming in, beating Jay Cargill. Some people like that, some people not. But it ended off with 2 5-star matches. But some people were on social media talking about they had someone in blackface singing Wild Thing. Forbidden Door. It's like Jesus. Forbidden Door. After that one, Brian gets hurt. All in.
Somebody
the
put a
Punk
hex
fight.
on that company, man. Somebody did
All in the Punk fight. All out. Punk's fired. Wrestle Dream, I feel like is the only one. Probably it's the only pay-per-view that nothing.
Yeah, I don't
no
think that
incident
happened.
happened. Nothing happened. But Full Gear, it had two things. It had some people were up in arms because they need to fucking take a relax pill and get some sex in their life or something because they're upset about they're upset about Hangman Adam Page drinking blood off of Swerve Strickland. That's their choice. They're the ones that are gonna be sick. That's not your fault.
Right.
Don't
Well,
take
he
it so
could have been
seriously.
sick.
Yeah, he could. I said he could have been sick, but that's not on you to be upset about it. Why you upset that he gonna get sick? But there was also the fact that the whole mess with the MJF booking going into that main event, and now we have this thing which feels much bigger than all of those other things. Much bigger. It feels like I am foolish outlining all those things because this feels much bigger than all of those. Not even before the pay-per-view fucking happens. Jesus. Will Chisholm with another super chat donations, and he says, and now it got me wondering who all knew this in the company. That is, whew, that's an interesting question.
Keeps coming back to leadership. What can we say?
Indeed it does. Indeed it does. It always goes back, and that's why I always point the finger at Tony Khan. Like, I mean, I don't ever kind of criticize Tony Khan the person, but as far as him as a boss and a leader, he's just shown very clear flaws throughout this whole situation, whether it be the Punk thing, and apparently from the very start of the whole fucking promotion. Jesus Christ.
Someone better be looking at Christopher Daniels like, oh, you see your talent relations. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Maybe you should do some investigation in talent relations. Christopher Kidd, thank you so much for the super chat donation. He says, in the bright side, suspending or even firing Jericho would at least boost fan morale for those that watch the weekly shows. Absolutely. I feel like this is like suspending or letting Jericho go would be like the double whammy of it would improve the on-screen weekly product, and also you're addressing a real image issue. I think that's what we need to do. I'm all here for suspending Jericho upon investigation. Nikki Boy saying they need to get some bitches. You can say that. You can say that. I'm sorry. I did not get people getting upset about Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. I just thought it was a great match. Him drinking his blood made me up. Me and my wife had a good time after that. We got Senior Nerd saying AEW can't catch a fucking break. Nope. Gotta start running your company a lot better. Ray Edmonds saying that's what happens when a company is run by non-professionals. As lame as WWE is, it's a professionally run company run by professionals and instead of marks. All right, a little far there, but yeah, they're non-professionals. That's for sure. They're not. They don't have the experience for this, and it's been showing in the last 2 years. That's for damn sure. And we got finally Brooklyn Bleak, who says the Sex Gods isn't looking too opponent right now. When that perv switch gets flicked, then all logic and common sense goes out the window. God damn. All I can
Jericho's
say,
gonna get the winning pin tonight. Don't worry, guys.
So to end off this heavy topic, where do you think this is going to lead? Do you think that we're going to see any type of consequences for Chris Jericho? What do you think happens, John?
What do I think happens, or what do I think should happen? Because what I think should happen is that he's suspended while they conduct an investigation. Tony Khan says either he was or was not aware. If he says he was aware, that's even worse. And then you probably should just be firing Jericho. If he says he wasn't aware, then I mean that just makes people think even more that you're kind of incompetent at what you do. And then you conduct the investigation, and based off the results of the investigation, and shouldn't Brian be fucking fining Jericho for tweeting at 4:00 in the morning on Christmas? Just in general, like that should be happening no matter what. Okay. And then this discipline committee should be reconvened.
We need the discipline. We need Brian to put back on his discipline committee hat.
With the departure of Dana, they could at least get a disciplinary committee T-shirt for Brian. That'd be great. What I think actually does happen, nothing.
And that's sad. That's sad that does seem like the most likely scenario in all of this. John, we won't take too much of your Saturday from the stat queen, the stat wife. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media and when we can expect you back whenever something else happens.
Yeah, you guys can catch me on the Patreon channel covering a Ring of Honor on Review of Honor. You can also catch me on Tru Heel Heat Sports. I tried to get Romeo to do a stream for that Jets Browns game that we had on Thursday Night Football. But we will be back with more streams on the Tru Heel Heat Sports channel, especially as we continue to get deeper into basketball season. I want to try to get some basketball streams going. I'm sure Sid will be interested in seeing more of the Lakers and getting people to watch his reactions to how the Lakers do. But yeah, you guys can catch me there. And thanks for having me as always, and appreciate the time.
Appreciate you, sir. And I'm wearing a Lakers shirt today. So hearts. Yes, hearts right there. John, you're over on Tru Heel Sports. Enjoy the weekend.
Take it easy, guys.
Tell the wife we said hi.
Tell her we said hello.
Will do. Bye, guys.
Bye. We got Santa Will Chisholm back in the chat once again. Thank you so much, Will. He says, this is why a lot of women say things haven't changed. And Chris talks good about Vince, so that's something. That says a lot.
It's true.
That says a lot. It did say a lot. And I've seen a lot of people in the chat kind of saying the same thing. Big Man Dog saying, let's not forget that Jimmy Havoc was released after abuse allegations. Jericho should therefore be fired, regardless of if he's guilty or not.
Yep.
That was a different time. That was the speaking out movement. And they didn't do anything to someone like a Darby Allin or a Jay Lethal, or there were other people involved that are still on the AEW roster. And we don't know if there was ever an investigation into what the allegations that came out about those guys. So I don't think that you want to set that precedence of saying, oh, Jericho, you're fired. No, you do what John said. You suspend him upon investigation and then take it from there. Big Man Dog saying otherwise they're just blatantly protecting him due to his position on the card. No, you can do the suspending him upon investigation, and that's not protecting him just because you fired Jimmy Havoc. That's you making a stance against speaking out movement, a stance that you didn't make for everybody. If everybody that was involved in the speaking out movement, like a Darby, like a Jay Lethal, like all these people were not in AEW or were fired from AEW after speaking out, and then this Jericho thing came up, then you have a point. Otherwise, no.
Yeah.
But there's more drama in AEW.
Is it still?
There's so much drama in the AEW.
I have a headache from this now.
In the latest big AEW backstage change, Fightful Select reports that AEW Chief Marketing and Merchandising Officer Dana Massey is set to leave the company soon. Massey has worked for AEW since the beginning. She is also the wife of Matt Jackson of the Young Bucks. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Massey was actually offered a new deal as her contract expired at the end of the year and told the company in October she was leaving. Massey has been a part of the company since 2018 when they were meetings before anyone even knew that AEW was happening. She has been in her position since the company began in 2019, and she was on the phone with Matt Jackson and Tony Khan when the idea was discussed. While some fans have criticized the company for their local marketing and lack of variety in merchandise at live events, it was noted that the budget for the former was smaller than that of WWE. The Wrestling Observer newsletter also notes that Massey has an issue with AEW for how they handled the fallout from the brawl at AEW All Out 2022. She felt that while the Young Bucks signed new deals because of how much they were offered, she didn't think AEW had their back. In particular, she allegedly believed that AEW never publicly cleared the Bucks of any wrongdoing for that incident and did not allow them to clear the air themselves due to NDAs. Part of her decision to leave is how they were treated, as she is married to Matt Jackson and the sister-in-law of Nick. It was said that Massey knows everything about what happened and saw most of it happen. She felt that AEW never defended the Bucks, which let people assume they were at fault for what happened with CM Punk.
Facts.
Man, if that's the real reason, I'd say, man, sister, that's a real wife right there.
That's a rider.
That's a ride or die right there.
Yep.
You ain't gonna treat my husband like that, deuces. He
I'm
can
not gonna
say
stay.
you
He can
can
stay.
pay him to stay, but I'm a get the fuck up out of here and raise our kids.
Yep. I don't need this job. It's fine.
Man, that's crazy out
Super
here.
quick party.
In the AEW streets, Frantic Girl saying, to be honest, on the business side of AEW needs to get better.
I agree.
Yeah, they need to. I'm hoping that tonight we see the picture that we be seeing for a couple of the events as of late, with the large quantity of merchandise available at the stand, because they tend to not have a lot of variety. So I'm hoping that changes.
Because the last one, it was not a lot of stuff at all.
No, not at all. Oh, shit. I saw it in the chat, and I just had to make sure. We are a wrestling podcast, but we do like to share any breaking news for our other channel, Tru Heel Heat Sports. And breaking news, because all of our friends are Knicks fans, the Toronto Raptors have finalized a trade to send OG Anunoby to the New York Knicks for a package including RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and draft considerations. This was tweeted out by Adrian Wojnarowski at 12:16 p.m. And before anybody says, well, Woj got that one thing wrong about Draymond Green, Woj is basically Sean Ross Sapp. So stop.
I can't. Oh God. Wow.
I'm just saying, man. Y'all be wilding out here. Y'all be wilding out here in these streets. Ray Edmonds, man, you're pretty harsh, I will say. He says, who cares if she quit? WWE uses fanatics for their merchandise. AEW uses a talent's wife. It makes AEW look even more Bush League.
Well.
I mean, hey, to each his own. I mean,
right.
she wasn't doing that well the last year and a half of her job. So, I mean, yeah. We got Armand, who says Shams even reported the trade. So it's official. New York Knicks. There you go. RJ's going home. RJ's going home and leaving y'all behind. In a statement on another departure from AEW, in a statement on Twitter, Shawn Spears announced that he is leaving the company after 5 years, thanking them and the fans. He wrote, "What a wonderful time it has been. Thank you at AEW for allowing me to be there from the ground level. It's been a fantastic 5 years of growth and personal development. This is a personal choice and one that is best for me and my family at this time. Thank you to all staff, talent, alike for the memories, and most importantly, to the incredible fans of all professional wrestling. I love you guys. I really do." Fightful Select reports that Spears' contract with AEW expired at the end of the month, and he'll be a free agent on January 1st. The departure was said to be an amicable one, and Spears' last AEW match was at the All Out 0 Hour, and before that, his last match was in May of 2022. And apparently, Fightful Select also reports he played one of the Devil's Mask Men at a taping of AEW recently.
Of course he did.
Of course he did. It makes sense. The Devil's Mask Man. That makes sense. Where do you think Shawn Spears lands next?
TNA.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yo,
The only
I
way
was like,
it's the only place that he should go to.
I know he's good friends with
He's about to
Eric
have another
Young.
baby. Yeah, like you gotta, you know.
Good friends with Eric Young. Your wife had a good run there. So yeah, I think that's the new place. It's a fresh place for him to go instead of going back to WWE and probably going into the same position he was before as a job guy on NXT.
Yes.
Go to Impact Wrestling and see if you could find a new character that gets over. There's a lot of guys who were at your level in WWE that have found success in Impact Wrestling, whether it be a Brian Myers, a Matt Cardona, an Eric Young. Like they have found more success in Impact and TNA than they did in WWE. We got Nikki Boy also agreeing, saying, yes, my brother and sister, we're all on the same page. Sean Spears better get that bag for the baby. And then finally, before we get into what happened on Rampage last night and Collision, MJF wrote a new article for the Players Tribune in which he talked about the importance of AEW in the wrestling industry and how he feels about criticism about the company. He said on the importance of AEW in the industry, he says there's a reason that workers' rights gets brought up so often in conversations around AEW. It's because we have a lot goddamn more of them now. This shit isn't rocket science. Competition equals bad for management, good for labor. There used to be one major American wrestling company. Now there's two. That fucking matters. It matters for the wrestlers who work here, since we all have jobs that literally didn't exist 5 years ago, but it also matters for the wrestlers who don't work here. For everyone in WWE, AEW means not having to work in a monopoly conditions. It means more options, which means more leverage, which means more money. And I'll take a wild guess and say better treatment. On criticism about AEW, he says, so while I welcome anyone being critical of AEW, God knows I am, if you're actually actively rooting against us existing, guess what? You're the fucking worst. You're rooting against workers. And that's the truth. Because out of all the incredible things that AEW has done over the last 5 years, number one with a bullet is put MJF on TV, but number two is make the wrestling industry just a little bit better to work in. And then finally on Tony Khan, he says, yeah, he's my boss. Yeah, he's a billionaire's son. No one wants to hear about him. I'll be brief. Number one, most billionaire sons, as I understand it, are rude idiots who watch Netflix all day on mountains of drugs while siphoning money from mommy and daddy. Tony isn't that. So on a baseline level, I guess I respect him for being a nice guy who gives a shit and loves this sport. Number two, Tony honors contracts. If you think that's a low bar, cool. Welcome to wrestling. Yo, read that Players Tribune article because I just gave you a sample. That shit was a gem to read. It was great. But I wanted to read that critical stuff because it goes back to my tweet that I did the bit on to open this show. I have never been anti-AEW. I was at All In. I literally, on this podcast 5 years ago, used to do weekly reviews of being the elite. Being the elite was being covered on this show in the lead up before Dynamite started. I have been 100% behind AEW because, like MJF says, AEW means the long-term health of this business. Another major American wrestling company is alive, and so many more people have been discovered that have been around for years or are now new stars. It is great for everything. I am critical of AEW because I know the greatness that it has. If I wasn't critical of it, that means I don't love it. That means I don't care. I was at that point 5 years ago with WWE. So don't tell me I'm anti-AEW.
It's true.
Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Listen,
I don't know where they would get that. You do a show called AE Ramble. I don't understand why they would think that you are so anti. I mean, maybe Jimmy, but not you.
I mean, yeah, Jimmy. Yeah. They might have a point with Jimmy. I'm just saying. But
definitely not you though. I don't understand it, but okay.
Okay. We got Frantic World in the chat who says, congrats to Sean Spears and Cassie Lee. They are having another baby. Congratulations. So good timing there. We got Nikki Boy. He says, look at how great Steve Macklin has done in Impact. Steve Macklin might be like one of the greatest turnarounds ever. He's up there with like EC3 as far as going to TNA and changing your whole career around and becoming a top guy.
Right.
That's what Steve Macklin did. The only other person who did that from like having a nothing run in WWE was EC3. We got Corey. He says, Corey Michaels, thank you for joining us, good sir. Saying Sean Spears may be a great get for TNA and could rehabilitate his image after being overlooked for so long. Plus, he seems tailor-made for that promotion. Yeah. This is true. Frantic World says, I think MJF is staying with AEW. You think?
Oh, he's not going nowhere no time soon.
Big Man Dog said exactly. The reason I shit on AEW more than WWE is because most of WWE is so boring that I can't get through their show. Like WWE, even with Triple H, some of the eras or the misbooking or booking stuff that I disagree with, it's just so easy to fix. And I know they just don't do it. Like, at least when I complain and why I'll be, you might think that I'm more vocal about my criticalness. No, I'm not. No, y'all know I'm critical of Triple H. Y'all would call me out on it all the time. I don't need to say that here. But the reason I'm critical of AEW, another real reason, is because it seems like Tony Khan looks for the criticisms and tries to address it.
Yeah, he does.
That's great.
Unlike the other people. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. We got Frantic World says, I don't think Jimmy is an AEW hater. He's just grumpy sometimes. Sometimes.
Okay.
I don't know. All the time? That seems more. Finally, we got AEW Rampage last night. The show featured Action Andretti and Top Flight defeating Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice in a fun trios match. Meanwhile, you had Chris Jericho asking Sammy Guevara to explain his decision to turn on him and join Don Callis. He said he got tired and frustrated of being in Jericho's shadow. He started to blame Jericho for his failures, and he was wrong for that, so he apologized. Jericho accepted and understood how Sammy could think that, as well as Don Callis taking advantage of it. And Jericho then asked Sammy to reunite Success Gods following World's End to take his guaranteed shot at the AEW World Tag Team titles.
They better not win.
Hopefully no. Ruby Soho picked up a win over Marina Shafir thanks to Harley Cameron, while Wheeler Yuta defeated Matt Sydal to retain the ROH Pure Championship. Post-match, Danhausen interrupted to disqualify him as the official fourth judge, but Yuta attacked him until Hook made the save. And then you had Collision Holiday Bash last Saturday. They did 457,000 viewers, Miss Krssi Love, their highest viewership since October. The show featured the final group stage week of the Blue League of the Continental Classic, as you had Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli have a brilliant 20-minute time limit draw, the first of the tournament, to give both men 1 point each, and Bryan 10 points, which advanced him to the finals of the Blue League. Meanwhile, Daniel Garcia picked up the miracle victory he's been looking for over Brody King in a very good bout. Finally, you had Eddie Kingston beat Andrade El Idolo in a great main event to advance to the Blue League finals. And of course, he had a stare down with Bryan Danielson afterwards ahead of Dynamite. And then you had Thunder Rosa make her in-ring return in a tag team win with Abaddon over Sky Blue and Julia Hart. And then you also had Shayna Wayne explain her actions against Adam Copeland before Christian Cage, my father, bravely, ladies and gentlemen, accepted the challenge of Adam Copeland for World's End on behalf of single mothers everywhere. After saying he somewhat regrets Edge's mom not being alive because if she was alive, she would disown him.
Yo, he is
one of the
heel
wildest individuals. Best on the mic, heel of the year, character of the year, Christian Cage. If y'all saw our tier list for the AEW roster, me and Jimmy McAree were debating if Christian Cage should have been on top of the whole tier.
Yeah, no, he definitely should be. He's top tier, like heel, like at its finest. And I'm like, do he run these things, with them? Like, can I say this, guys? Will this hurt your feelings? Like, I think that is so cool. It's so amazing how he can just like do all these things and just, it brings out, it makes him more raw and real. He was even better on Dynamite.
It's because he plays it so serious.
Yes.
It makes it even more funnier. He plays
Right.
it so straight. It's just so
He doesn't
hilarious.
crack a smile. He's always it. Like, it's always top tier work.
I love it. Christian Cage is my hero. He's my father. He didn't buy me anything for Christmas, but that's okay. I didn't deserve it. So it's okay, Dad. I'm gonna still be here supporting you in Long Island at World's End.
The MILF Hunter. I can't. Oh my God! Wow, Big Man Dogs. That is the one.
MILF Hunter.
I love that.
Bring me back to the days of Bear Share.
Big Man Dogs. That's it.
Oh man. And we got another super chat donation from our good friend Tom Talks Rubbish. Go over and check out Tom's YouTube channel, the best YouTube channel if you like interviews with wrestling media, content creators, journalists alike. He's been doing great work. A whole series of interviews with our cast of characters over here at Tru Heel Heat. He sat down with Josh, sat down with Krssi, sat down with Stephanie, sat down with Jimmy McAram. A rare Jimmy McAram interview. It was
with Jimmy?
With Jimmy.
I have to go watch that.
He says, Tom Talks Rubbish says, thank you all. Thank you for all being nice people. You're the nicest, Tom.
Yes. You're a sweetheart.
We love you. We got Nikki Boy. He says, God, I've missed Thunder Rosa. I love her putting out the cigarette on Sky Blue's ass. That was good. That was my favorite part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it because of the outfits too.
Nikki Boy, I was raised by a single mother too. That's why I stand with Christian Cage. I am a member of the patriarchy. We got Armand who says, MILF Hunter brings me back to LimeWire and BearShare. LimeWire. I had LimeWire. Those were some days. Some days. All right, final AEW news before we move on to some big WWE news, despite only one show this week from them. Andrade El Idolo signed with All Elite Wrestling back in June of 2021 for what was believed to be a 3-year deal. It is believed that the deal will be up soon. During a press conference after a recent match in CMLL, Andrade said that he has a lot of open doors in 2024 and hasn't made a decision about where he'll go. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that people in WWE expect Andrade to return to the company at some point. Those close to him also believe he'll go back, but is open to stay in AEW if Tony Khan makes a better offer. Andrade reportedly wants to work in New Japan Pro Wrestling and wanted to do Fantastica Mania in February. He couldn't due to a scheduling conflict, but do you suspect Andrade El Idolo to be in WWE by the end of 2024?
Yes.
I am going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say no.
Oh, why? Because he wants to do New Japan? That's why?
No, it's because AEW's been booking him really well and he's performed really well. It's people need to realize that, yes, he's in this group of Miro, Malachi, who have kind of put the reputation out there that they don't want to be here. They want to be back in WWE now that Vince is gone. And the only one that has produced quality work in the past 6 months is Andrade.
Him. Yeah, that's true. You're right.
So,
but does that mean that
I want him to stay? I want him to stay. That's why I'm going to be hopeful. I'm going to be optimistic. This is not really a prediction. This is me being optimistic because I think that if he goes back, he'll find himself in the same spot of when he wanted to leave the company.
I agree. I think that they all should stay where they are because they're doing more than what they did before. However, I understand that they want to be near their spouses. Well, more so, not Mero, because Mero's wife is already with him. But the other two, I figured they would want to be closer to them and be on the same schedule as their wives.
Yeah.
So that's why I would say yes, that they would go back. But they are doing better work, and like you said, Andrade has been booked. He's been given every match he's been in has been great. But if Paul opened up that door and let these guys do work in other places, it'll make money for you plus them and have eyes going every which way. It's money is a win-win for everyone.
I just don't see Bushi Road working with WWE because they know WWE's history. We'll get into what other companies WWE is interested in working with. We got Nikki Boy. He says whenever his deal does come up, I definitely think he'll go back to WWE. I think he'll go back to WWE. I just don't think it will be at the end of 2024 because we also have to keep in mind that Tony can add time to his contract because he was injured. He just came back in June of this year. Before that, he was out for 6 months. 6 months will bring you into 2025. So that's why another reason why I think he's not going to be in WWE by the end of 2024. Because if I'm Tony, if you have a feeling he's going to go back to WWE, why not add time to his contract?
Right. That's true.
I'm just saying.
It's true.
I'm just saying. It's on you. It's on you, pal. We got Nikki Boy. He says,
"Oh yes, Belle. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yes, he does need to do something with Malachi for sure. I would love to see Andrade go to Japan for like the G1. I think he would shine in the G1. He's been in the G1 before, but that was as La Sombra. I think that he would be even better as Andrade. And we got Nikki Boy. He says, I want to see him stay in AEW, but I feel like he might go, and he's doing awesome in AEW right now. He was one of the C2 MVPs. A lot of people have been telling me that they thought he was one of the better guys in the C2, but
yeah,
I have to wait and see. But tonight we got a big grudge match. It's going to be Swerve Strickland versus Keith Lee at AEW World's End, and a new report reveals when the plans for the match came together. The two are set to complete at Saturday's pay-per-view, months after they were feuding at the start of the year. Fightful Select reports that the plan was finalized after Full Gear. According to the report, Strickland was originally set to continue his feud with Hangman Adam Page, but after their Full Gear match, a pivot was made, and a plan was made to have Lee and Strickland finish their feud with integration of ROH and Shane Taylor. Page and Swerve were reportedly never planned for a third match at World's End, though. So there we go. Plans came together. It's finally happening. Do you think that it will be a good enough matchup where it will be like, okay, that was worth the wait?
No. I really don't care.
Either. I think it's going to be good to great, but I don't think it's going to be great enough for us to be like, oh, yeah, it was worth waiting a whole year for that.
Yeah, it's just like a match that they just like, okay, let's have them put on the card. Like, poor Swerve.
Poor Swerve. AEW Revolution is coming up in March, and it seems that is the next pay-per-view for AEW. While AEW has been running monthly pay-per-views for the past 5 months, they will go back to a more familiar schedule after Saturday. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that AEW's next pay-per-view after World's End will be Revolution on March 3rd, 2024. Prior to the addition of pay-per-views like World's End and Wrestle Dream, AEW had been sticking to a pay-per-view every 2 to 3 months, and there had been rumors the company may go back to 12 per year, but that doesn't seem to be the case for now. Thank God.
Yeah.
I will say, though, the addition of the pay-per-views has made the television a lot more focused. You always know you're heading to somewhere. I always feel like that is the one benefit of monthly pay-per-views. You always know the start and the end. This is the start of the build. The end is the pay-per-view, the destination. You know where we're going. And then to finally finish out the Converse real fast, you had ROH TV on Honor Club. The show featured Ethan Page defeating Johnny TV in a decent main event. A pair of pretty fun trios match. First, from the women's division, Taya Valkyrie and the Renegade Twins beat Lady Frost, Kira Hogan, and Trish Adora. While on the men's side, Brian Keith and the Von Erichs made the black-white cowboy team to get the win over Iron Savages and Jack Jameson, while they also announced Billy Starks, Lady Frost, Layla Hirsch, Kira Hogan, and Rachel Ellering for the Ring of Honor Women's Television Championship Tournament, which is set to start in the new year. So
Nice.
some good stuff going on over in Ring of Honor. But we got to go over to WWE, which this week was mostly a best of week. It was the absolute best of 2023 on Raw. You had a best of show last night on SmackDown. I didn't even watch that stuff.
I didn't even watch it neither. My husband put it on. I was like, I'm not watching that. You can turn that shit off. Like, I don't need to watch it.
I was like, I watched it. I covered it.
Yeah, I saw it already.
I lived through this. I just lived through this. I was like, I'll do this when I am doing my list videos. Like, I'll go back and watch matches, watch certain moments over promos of the year, stuff like that. But for the most part, I don't like how WWE presents their best of shows, so I don't watch it.
Yeah, yep.
Don't watch it.
I agree.
But we did have a new episode of NXT. The Triple H and the gang was like, "Make them young niggas work this week." The show featured Eddie Thorpe beating Dijak in a very good NXT Underground matchup. Very intense, wild ending with the big implant DDT off the steel steps through the announce table to get the win. Eddie Thorpe's biggest win yet on NXT. You also had OTM beat Chase U to earn a shot at the NXT Tag Team Championships. Noam Dar defeated Josh Briggs by disqualification to retain the NXT Heritage Cup. And we saw the finals for the NXT Men's Breakout Tournament take shape as Riley Osborne pulled off an upset over Lexis King. Thank God. And Obey Femi defeated Tavion Heights for Osborne and Femi to meet in the NXT Men's Breakout Tournament Finals next week at New Year's Evil. I'm a Obi Femi guy. I'm a Obi feminist.
Yeah, Obi
Oba feminist. I'm an Oba feminist now, y'all. Oba Femi, I think he's gonna win. I don't want the white.
I hope so. He should be the one that wins.
I thought it was gonna come down to him and Lexis King. I was surprised.
I'm happy it just wasn't Lexis King. That's all that matters.
I just expected Lexis King to probably lose in the finals. If you're gonna have him in this tournament, he seems like the type you want to get into the finals, right?
Right.
But they did the whole thing where he attacked the guy, and then the guy was back the next week when he could have just been in the tournament. Like,
right.
He attacked him, but he was back, so he could have just wrestled in his match. Okay. And then the guy was the reason why he lost this match. It just didn't make a whole bunch of sense.
Nope.
This definitely felt like a Christmas edition. Like the only thing that really mattered on this episode was the NXT Underground match.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Sad. Waste of time. We got okay. We got Christopher Kidd who says AEW.
So I get for hitting the message.
We are not competing with the road to WrestleMania. I mean, they're kind of in the middle of the road to WrestleMania with Revolution, to be fair. We also got Nate Milton who says, "Morning, family. I feel like TK is setting Brother Lee up for failure. Why return to the feud now when it's obvious Swerve is on track towards the main event? Why not save this until Swerve is champ? Because Keith Lee has no business going near Swerve Strickland when he wins the world title. I am sorry, Nate Milton.
At all.
Whatever you smoke for your wake and bake that made you believe that this is still 2018 and we talking about Keith Lee from 5 years ago. No. I think this was the right time to just put a bow on it, get it on the wraps, because it really feels that whatever happened to Keith Lee, and he's explained it many of times with him getting sick, his heart problems, him having his weight issues that he's had, that Keith Lee that we had in 2019, in 2020, that he had, that I don't think he's here anymore.
He's not. It's unfortunate. Like, he needs to go back. But he's another one. He probably got to go be with his wife. His wife got to take care of him.
I don't even think it's that. I just think that he just needs to be in a tag team because that's where he shined in AEW. He shined with Swerve Strickland. Some guys, if you're a big man and you can't work long matches or you can't put on the same quality of great match, because I would say Keith Lee, since he's been in AEW, we have not seen a great singles Keith Lee matchup.
That's
but
true.
we
You're
have
right.
seen many great Keith Lee matchups. Most of them were in tag teams because
Yes.
you can pick
Yes.
your spots. You can pick your spots. You can rest on the apron, catch your breath, come in, do the hot tag, run wild. And you have the tag right there. Him and Shane Taylor. Bring back the Pretty Boy Killers because that's a platform for Shane Taylor, who's a great on the mic. He could be the mouthpiece for the team. Keith Lee can come in and be the hot tag guy, and it will work great.
Right.
I think there's a role for Keith Lee. It just ain't as a single star anymore. It just seems like that. It don't matter if he go back to WWE, y'all. We got Ninja Mortis. He says SP3 is right. Andrade would be back to spinning his wheels in WWE. He will be back as the secondary to Santos Escobar.
Yo. It's kind of true though.
If you think Andrade and El Idolo is not going to get signed to WWE and put back into the Mexican Latino storyline, I got a bridge to sell you. I got a bridge I can sell you. If you believe that. Nate Milton saying the best of shows don't hit now that we can literally go back and watch any match online or on Peacock. But back in the VHS days, the best of came in clutch. That is true. That is. Before WWE Network, the best of used to be great. Even WWE Network used to do specials and videos that were better than what we get on the weekly television as far as best ofs. We got Be a Vegan for the Precious Animals saying, welcome to AEW, Mercedes Mone, and let's talk about it. Because the big news, SRS dropped his Woj bomb on the wrestling world yesterday because Mercedes Mone does not appear to be heading toward WWE now, according to a new report. Fightful Select reports that while Mercedes Mone had been in discussions about a return to WWE, sources told the outlet that talks fell apart and that as of Friday night, the two are no longer in active discussions about a return. The report notes, according to sources within WWE, that the discussions between the two sides were friendly, but that talks failed to progress, and WWE walked away from the negotiations. Another source in WWE said they believed Mone would be appearing elsewhere imminently, but didn't say where. There are several big shows about to happen. Of course, we got AEW World's End tonight. We got NJPW's New Wrestle Kingdom 18 on January 4th. Before that, there's a big Stardom show on January 4th, just before Wrestle Kingdom as well. And we also got TNA Hard to Kill on January 13th, with Scott D'Amore already teasing that they will have the biggest signing in TNA history.
Oh my God. Wow.
It was reported earlier this month that there were working plans in August for Mone to come to All Elite Wrestling, but that plan had been not active as of November. New Japan Pro Wrestling had been hoping to talk to her, and the site notes that all options were back on the table outside of WWE as of mid-December. So, like I always say, we take all these reports with a grain of salt. They're just a report and stuff like that. And, you know, there's going to be some people that are like, oh, I'm going to wait. She's going to come back at Royal Rumble. I think that you can have that thought after we get through this week, because this week is very big on what's about to happen with Mercedes Mone. And our good brother Phil Lindsay of the Grab City podcast said it best on social media. It is now the Mercedes Watch. The Mercedes Watch has started right now, Miss Krssi Love. We, but we had
the Mercedes Watch going for a while now.
Hey, no, it is now
Official?
fully active. It is now fully
activated?
active. It is now fully, the switch has been lit, ladies and gentlemen. It is now Mercedes Watch. Every week, I'm going to be doing weather reports. we're gonna have to have a Stat King or John make up like a weather report instrumental for us to play, because I'm gonna be like, we got a crazy week ahead. Saturday, it's looking like a 50 and 50% chance of Monet. As we pass the first of the year, we look over to Japan, where they're looking like they might be under Mercedes water over there. And if they can make it through the first of the week, hey, you might have to cross the line to TNA to see if that Mercedes Hurricane is coming over there. Man, I'm this news is just so exciting. What do you think, Miss Krssi Love, about the talks between WWE and Mercedes Mone falling apart? Why do you think that happened? And where do you think she will land next?
I think it happened because she knows her worth, and I think she wanted to put some certain standards in her clause so that it would happen. Because you know they'll give you all the talks like, yes, we're going to do this, we're going to do it, and they don't do it. Just want to get you to sign your life away, and then that's it. And then you're over there working, and you're miserable. So I think she wanted to make sure before she goes back, and she has a talk like, this is what I want. This has to be in it, and if you don't do it, then I'm taking my work somewhere else. Because she knows her worth, and she knows that she can be one of the top girls there, and she knows that she's bigger than what they are thinking, maybe. So with that being said, I feel like she's just, waiting out the numbers game and just like waiting it out and like going to see who will give her what she wants. And I feel like she doesn't need to go back right away. Let her like wait, go like towards the end of the year, go next year. You don't have to go back right now.
I think she'll be back in WWE sometime in the next 3 years, but the thing she needs to do is be a success, be a draw outside of WWE. You need to prove to yourself.
Yep.
You need to prove to your fans who put you on this platform and say you're as big of a draw as any of these female stars. And most of all, she needs to do it for her haters and for the detractors. Because
look at Trinity.
Not even the naysayers and the detractors. There is a common misconception in wrestling that every free agent has to go to WWE because that's the mainstream company. That's the biggest company, seen by the most eyes. You can make the most money there. But I feel like someone who is wildly successful and someone I've defended here on the podcast over the last month, Seth Rollins, his legacy pales in comparison to Kenny Omega, because Kenny Omega became as big of a star, if not bigger than Seth, without the WWE machine.
Without the WWE, yep. Mm-hmm.
So I think that Mercedes, by having a full successful run outside of WWE, whether it's with New Japan, whether it's with AEW, whether it's with TNA, she will totally flip the script and change the perception when it comes to the distractors and the haters. Now, as far as why do I think the WWE talks fell through? All right. So this is just me. This is just me reading into things, and it's based on things we've read in the past. Now, we read in the past that Mercedes has had talks and she's left the company previously. The whole thing that happened at WrestleMania 35 with her and Bayley losing the tag team titles, and the whole crying on the floor in the hotel lobby. And then they were off TV for a couple of months. And Mercedes was off TV for like 6 months and then had to negotiate her contract. And we heard back then it was about a money thing. Then we heard the next time that a contract came up that they did not view her on the same level as who? Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair. Yep.
Who just got a new contract, a new deal from WWE? Oh, yeah, that was Charlotte Flair. Who did we just say got one of the biggest contracts that any female star ever made from WWE? Oh, yeah, that was also Charlotte Flair. Wasn't that the same week we got a report that Mercedes Mone was asking for her asking price was on the level of Charlotte Flair? And then, wait, a week later we find out WWE and Mercedes Mone talks fell through. It seems to me, again, WWE is telling her we don't view you on the same level as Charlotte. How many times? They basically are like, how many times we gotta tell you this? You either take what we're going to give you,
or don't go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else and prove us wrong. And that's what I think she's about to do.
I think that's what she should do. Go somewhere else. You don't have to be. There's so much. It's a melting pot. There's so many places that she can go. You don't have to be here. Yes, you want to be there. That's one of your homes. I get it. But they're not treating you like this is your home. They're not treating you like you should. You're willing. You deserve to be here. Like we don't know. We don't know that you know. So therefore, go somewhere else and like let them know like who you are and what you bring, and you're a draw.
Yeah, this would change the whole game if Mercedes Mone went to TNA. That would be the game changer. That would be one of the biggest signings in TNA history.
It would be.
That's the only person that really lives up to that promotion that Scott DeBoer did. Nikki Boy, he's saying please pop back up on Wrestle Kingdom or Hard to Kill. Wrestle Kingdom is a little bit tricky because there's no women's match on the card. So I don't know about that one. Bell saying I'm honestly not counting out Mercedes going to TNA, especially with Trinity there. I'm not denying it either because Scott DeMore said it's the biggest signing in TNA history. That was the first person I thought of.
Yep. Who else will be bigger?
Yep. True. Dolores saying so today and day one will be the real watch. No, I don't think it's day one. I don't think there was a tease.
I don't think she'll be there today neither.
WrestleVotes reported that that there is a former WWE champion that is not on the active roster. This was Fightful Select added that part. That is not on the active roster that they are nailing down to return at day one. I'm sorry. If that's Mercedes Mone, that's a letdown. Mercedes Mone should come back in the Royal Rumble and should win the Royal Rumble. If she's going to come back to WWE, that should probably be the first thing you do. You should save her for the Rumble. She could come back in the Rumble and win the Rumble match. That's how you put her back and you say, no, we're going to give you an even bigger platform than when you were before. Corey Michael saying if it weren't for her injury, Mercedes could easily be in the top discussion for Women's Wrestler of the Year. She's damn close for my money. Absolutely, 100%. If she didn't get injured, she would be.
See, this is what happened. Like the year definitely changed the trajectory of what was supposed to be her injury, because this was supposed to be her year to shine. She's supposed to go a whole bunch of places, and then this is what happened. So.
Here we are. We got Big Man Dog saying Baker is going to do a shoot promo on Mercedes live on Dynamite before their match and then get into a backstage fight. Yo, Baker is going to be, she's going to be shitting in her bag or something. It's going to be bad. She's going to be so tight, Mercedes here. If she can. Christopher saying, you telling me you'll pay Phil but not Mercedes?
Right.
Okay.
They will.
They would,
and they did.
Yep.
They only did that for Phil because they knew what Phil was doing and can bring, because Phil is a draw in itself. However, he is very messy. But they also wanted to get something underneath. They wanted to one up TK. That's what that shit was.
Yeah.
You could say whatever the fuck you want to say. That's what that was.
We got Nate in the chat saying WWE done ran Mercedes around in more circles than Krssy's Christmas tree. They've been showing her what level they view her at. Yeah,
right.
They've been showing you. That's why I've been one that I have not been. I've been all for it as far as like what we're gonna see on screen, because she's great on screen in whatever she does. But yeah. I'm not like pushing for this like a lot of other people were, because it's just like. They don't appreciate you like that.
Yeah.
They don't. I'm giving it $100, $150. They don't fuck with you like that, Mercedes. If it ain't clear by now, it's clear. They don't fuck with you like that. Triple H teased on Twitter about day one. Yeah, he was saying, I'm not going to confirm or deny the reports about a former WWE champion, but blah blah blah. It's Brock Lesnar, y'all. It's probably Brock Lesnar. Just letting y'all.
Oh, really?
Before y'all start being like, oh yeah, it might be Mercedes, it's probably Brock Lesnar. If it's Mercedes, great. I'm great. I'm always happiest when I'm wrong about something. always happiest when they surprise me and I'm wrong about something. But my heart and my head, when I read the report, said Brock Lesnar. Sorry. We got Corey who says, that all said, Mercedes calling an audible for Willow was a nice moment. She's awesome for that. 100% agree.
Yep.
And we got Adam Pearson in the chat. What's up, sir? Haven't seen you in so long. He says the C2 is one of the best things they've done, period. Agreed. But we got more WWE news to discuss, because with Mercedes talks down, now the eyes of WWE will have to move to another lady. And why not one of the best women's wrestlers in the world? Yes, that's right. Julia! More Julia watch. An update going on here. The reigning NJPW Strong Women's Champion did an interview with Bushan. She is set to compete at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Battle in the Valley next month. On the perks of wrestling in Japan, she said Japan is the place to be when it comes to ease of living and life is safe. The prices are somewhat low. There's delicious food and the toilets are clean. I think Japan is amazing. Which one is better? I know the good and bad things about overseas countries and that of Japan too. It's hard to decide. On the impact of the Strong Women's title on her, the Strong Women's title is the belt that changed me, a belt that will change you from the beginning. I had a desire to compete overseas, but I thought, wouldn't it be better to raise the profile of women's pro wrestling in Japan first? Overseas is good too, but I want to do it in Japan. But the world is big, isn't it? You can have experiences that you cannot get only in Japan. Knowledge too. I learned that by going to America to defend the title. When you're absorbing new things, like now, everything is a learning experience, and I want to learn more. I want to level up more. Ultimately, I hope to be able to utilize my overseas experience in order to pass it on to my juniors in women's pro wrestling and preserve the history. The Wrestling Observer newsletter had a report this week about Julia, as well as WWE's interest in working with STARDOM. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that WWE is also interested in a working relationship with STARDOM after the news of their working relationship with All Japan Pro Wrestling. However, nothing has been finalized at this time. As for Julia, the Wrestling Observer newsletter notes that she is likely to sign with WWE in 2024. Her STARDOM contract expires in March. It was added that she might not join WWE as soon as the deal is done, but is leaning towards WWE in 2024. In the latest update on WWE potentially signing Julia, Julia is seen as likely to be joining 100. It seems that she is leaning towards that decision. Meltzer wrote exactly, Julia right now is seen as likely to be coming here in 2024. Her contract expires with STARDOM in March. She may not be coming in right away, but as of right now, she is leaning towards them. So gonna be some interesting times. I will say though, it seems like at the end of 2024, yes, Julia will be in WWE. I might not think Andrade, but Julia for sure, I think it's going to be in WWE. We got Dolores in the chat saying Julia is a great wrestler, but I would see her in AEW or TNA over WWE. I don't know. I think WWE does fit. Big Man Dog saying, I feel like it's a given she's going to America based on how much her English has improved. She's been cutting more and more promos in English. That is true. Gearing up for that change. And WWE is not only signing, new stars to their roster, they have been re-signing a lot of talent. PW Insider reports that Selena Vega has signed a new multi-year deal with WWE, the latest after the TKO merger. She joins a growing list of talent to re-sign recently, including Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, and Charlotte Flair. And the last bit of WWE news, they had their MSG holiday show this week. WWE returned to Madison Square Garden, and PW Insider had some backstage notes. Christopher Park and Robert Roode were among the producers for the matchups on the show. Triple H or Vince McMahon were not in attendance for the event. A great deal of CM Punk WWE merchandise was reportedly available at the event, and the Best in the World came home to New York City, was very much sold at the event. A lot of sales for that one. PW Insider also reports that Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre had to work a super speed in the main event World Heavyweight Championship bout, as the event was running up against the curfew for New York State. The show had to finish by 10:30 p.m. local time, and as a result of the curfew deadline, a lot of what happened for the main event reportedly happened faster than originally planned. Rollins defeated McIntyre to retain his title by using a powerbomb through a table, followed by the curb stomp to pick up the win.
So they had to be done by 10:30, it said?
Yeah,
In New York
10:30.
State?
Yeah, for a weekday. Yeah.
Huh. Kids ain't have school the next day, though.
You know,
Basketball games go past that time, too, so I don't understand.
not New York, unless it goes to overtime.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick game start at 7. Nets start at 7:30. They'll be done by 10.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure. We got a big event from outside of all the promotion we usually cover, but we've been covering Stardom a lot with the Julia watch, with WWE now being interested in them, and they had one of their biggest events of the year this week, Stardom Dream Queendom. The show featured Maika defeating Suzu Suzuki in an absolutely fantastic main event to win the World of Stardom Championship. First time winning the gold over Suzu Suzuki, who is a 21-year-old prodigy, one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, and Maika has proven herself to be that as well. Yeah,
Julia was there.
Julia, yeah, she was at ringside for the matchup, and she had a great match on the show as well. But you had Sari Anoi beat Mirai to win the World Wonder of Stardom Championship, the white belt, her first time winning the championship, a nearly 25-minute battle between these two women, a great match here as well. Speaking of Julia, she defended the New Japan Strong Women's Championship in a fantastic bout against Megan Bain, who is currently signed to AEW. So this could have been a future of WWE versus AEW here.
Definitely.
This is another great matchup on this show. Definitely go out of your way to watch the show. The entire show is available on their YouTube channel. The show, the pay-per-view got cut off before the main event. So Stardom has refunded all the fans that purchased it on pay-per-view and then uploaded the entire pay-per-view on their YouTube channel. So take advantage and go watch it.
I will do that, yes.
When we talk about Stardom, they're along with Bushiroad with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we talked about the big change last week, Krssi Love, with New Japan, with Hiroshi Tanahashi becoming the new president of the company. As we previously reported that, the Wrestling Observer newsletter had an update and some more details on what led to the management change. It was noted that both Obari and Nishizawa, who were the previous president and representative director, are leaving for several reasons, including New Japan Pro Wrestling's difficulty recovering following the pandemic. NJPW used to be the number 2 wrestling promotion in the entire world, but after the pandemic and rise of AEW, they fell to what likely is number 3. They also lost a lot of their top talent, and other independent wrestlers have signed with AEW or WWE. While NJPW attendance in 2023 was up 20% from 2022, the Tokyo Dome and the Tokyo Dome performed well. The company didn't sell out the G1 finals. This is something they've been able to do even in bad years before the pandemic. There were also said to be problems with Obari, who is the president, and the staff members. He reportedly had heat with several people, including Kazuchika Okada. The president of the company had heat with the top star of the company. It got to the point that Okada wanted Obari gone from New Japan. Others claim that Obari didn't understand wrestling and didn't see Okada's value. Another source noted that Obari saw Okada as the lead role actor in a touring show. A former staff member added, depending on how successful Tanahashi as president will be, it could be one of the best decisions made by Bushiroad about New Japan Pro Wrestling since 2013. All presidents were Bushiroad people beforehand, or people chosen by Bushiroad. It was the way Bushiroad controlled NJPW, but they were all people with either a little or zero experience in the industry. So they couldn't be popular enough among the New Japan Pro Wrestling talent or employees. While it was one of the reasons why all of them didn't last long, Tanahashi has no such issue and should be met with for a long term as president that would give NJPW stable leadership. Though the power structure will remain the same, Bushiroad will always remain the highest decision maker. Tanahashi's regime should influence their power balance for the better for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Another former staff member said, I think it's great. He's going to be a guy who changes how you do business. I know he sees NJPW as being the WWE of Japan, and he is young enough to enact changes and get New Japan out of the dark ages of how they do business. I mean, how do you expect to keep your job if you got a problem with the best employee?
Yep. The workhorse of the company.
What you think about basically this whole move not only being about the long-term health of New Japan, but this move could potentially lead to New Japan re-signing Okada now?
I hope that they do re-sign him. You know, they need to. But like, yeah, how do you have problems with the main person, the head of the whole company? Like, I mean, like the face of the company. Excuse me. Like, no wonder they wanted to get rid. They had to get rid of you because you was the problem, not him.
Reminds me of Entourage season 5 when Vince was in the Smoke Jumpers movie and the director hated him.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yep.
It's like he's the lead actor. Like, you should probably get along with him, but no. If you don't think he's good, I mean, or you have a problem with him, or you don't see the value in him, boy, I mean,
yeah.
Honestly, it says more about you, sir.
Then yeah, exactly. It says more about you than anyone else. Like, you're the problem, not them. And he seems to be like a nice guy, but I guess he just
Yeah, that was our homie. We chopped it up.
Yeah, we met him. Yeah, we chopped it up with him this year, and this, he just.
Hey, I can't wait for us to be able to chop it up like that with Tanahashi, though.
I know.
Tanahashi meeting the wrestling club. Hey, yo, let's go.
Let's do it.
We got in the chat here, Dolores saying WWE and STARDOM would be a good fit to work together. STARDOM wrestling is good. They have been good over the top female characters and factions. I'm sorry, Dolores. Anytime anybody says WWE and blank would be a good fit to work together, I just think of ECW, Evolve, Progress, every fucking company that has worked with WWE and has been raped and pillaged until they are never the same. And I'm sorry, I don't want that for STARDOM. I don't want that for STARDOM. I'm good. I see all the positive tweets. I see all the positivity about that, but I'm good. I don't want that. I don't want to see that. I like STARDOM. Just the way it is. I don't want them to be raped and pillaged. I'm good. Dolores saying Okada probably will stay now. Yes. We also got Big Man Dog saying New Japan is doing better now, but I miss 2015 through 18 new NJPW. Agreed. That was the golden days. We got Frantic World also saying so Okada is definitely staying in New Japan. It looks better now. It looks, yeah. And we got Bell saying, I'm highly expecting Okada to stay in NJPW now. And thank God, because I'd feel there'd be like a zombie apocalypse coming if he left NJPW. He is NJPW. 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, I was like we were talking about on AE Ramble this week. What was the point of Forbidden Door if AEW signed Okada? Like, that's the two top guys. Ospreay and Okada was the two top guys from New Japan that made this year's event what it was. And now they're going to be a part of AEW. So what do you do then? I don't know.
Right.
Speaking of NJPW, we got exclusive interview with NJPW lead commentator Walker Stewart that's going to be dropping on the channel this coming week, where we talked about how he got started with New Japan Pro Wrestling, working with Kevin Kelly, Hiroshi Tanahashi being the president. We talked about that as well. And we're going to have that video up on the channel this week, as well as an official full preview with Walker Stewart on the Wrestle Kingdom 18 card, so you get some more inside perspective on the Wrestle Kingdom card. So that's going to be dropping on the channel this week. But since it's on Thursday, we got to do some final predictions here on this show for Wrestle Kingdom 18, as they have a huge lineup for the show. Well, we'll go rapid fire with these predictions here. We got the Rambo, which is going to be for the King of Pro Wrestling 2024 Provisional Championship. It's going to be the last 4 participants in the Battle Royal will fight for the title the following day at New Year's Dash. Show is going to be in it because he is the KOPW 2023 winner. I'm going to guess Yano, Taichi, and Ishii.
Is that all their
because he's-
names that's up there on the screen?
No. I'm just
Okay.
guessing who I think is going to be the final 4. I just
Got
guess.
it.
I just guess Yano, Ishii, Taichi, and Show.
Okay.
You think it's going to be? Who do you think it's going to be?
SP. Fred, come on. I'm gonna
She's like, whatever you just said. Whatever
you just said, friend. I'm gonna go with you. Most likely, you're probably right. So,
we got a special tag team matchup, grudge match here. It's going to be the House of Torture, Evil and Ren Narita versus Kaito Kiyomiya and Shoto Umino. Shoto Umino got turned on by Ren Narita, who joined up with the House of Torture. House of Torture has been at the ire and having issues with Kaito Kiyomiya since the World Tag League. So they got this big tag team match here. Who you got?
I got Evil and Rena Rita.
I'm gonna go with Shooter and Kiyomiya because I hate the House of Torture. Fuck the House of Torture. That's
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them.
Wow.
The opening
really,
matchup. The opening matchup will be for the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. You got Catch 2-2, the Super Junior Tag League winners, going up against the Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney. Who do you think walks out with the tag team titles?
Bullet Club.
I'm going to go with Catch 2-2. They've had a great year. I think they cap it off winning at Wrestle Kingdom. We got for the NJPW World Television Championship, it's going to be Zack Sabre Jr. defending against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Zack Sabre Jr. holds the record for the longest reign in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Currently with the most defense, he has 17 defenses of the World Television Championship, while Tanahashi wants to win the title and become the flag bearer for the young stars of New Japan Pro Wrestling now that he is president. Who do you think wins?
I don't think the president should win. I think Zach should win.
I think Zach should win as well. I will say, yes, please. Zach, get the win, please.
Zach, get the win. Yes, please.
Then you got a battle of the future aces in New Japan Pro Wrestling, as it's going to be 1/3 of the Reiwa 3 Musketeers, Yota Tsuji, versus the man who's been on the outside looking in for the Reiwa 3 Musketeers, the man who grew up in the dojo with the 3 Musketeers, Yuya Uemura of Just 5 Guys. Who do you think wins this one?
Yuta.
Uemura?
Yep.
I'm going to go with Tsuji, but I definitely feel like Uemura needs to win more. He needs to have this be a great match, at least.
Okay.
Next we got for the Never Openweight Championship, it's going to be Shingo Takagi defending against the man he defeated for the title, Tama Tonga. These two men have fought to a draw. They had a nearly 25-30-minute matchup at Fighting Spirit Unleashed. What do you think we get here?
Shingo
For the win. I agree. I'm a big Shingo fan. That's my guy.
Yep.
For all the tag team gold, winner takes all. IWGP Tag Team Championship, NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships, El Phantasmo and Hikuleo, our boys, check out the interview, will face Bishamon in a return match to the World Tag League Final. Who wins this one? EOP and Hikuleo beat them at the beginning of the tournament. Bishamon won 3 straight in the tournament in the final against them. Who wins this rubber match?
Hikuleo and EOPO.
I'm going to be quite biased and go with the GOD. The GOD
Okay.
for the win.
Okay.
Hiromu Takahashi defends the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against El Desperado. These longtime rivals doing battle at Wrestle Kingdom once again. Who walks out with the gold?
Tanahashi.
I'm going with Hiromu Takahashi to retain and get to that record. Then we got for the inaugural IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, Will Ospreay will face Jon Moxley and David Finlay. It was supposed to be Ospreay and Moxley 2.
Yeah, 2, yeah.
Ospreay and Moxley 2 at Wrestle Kingdom, but then Finlay got himself involved, destroyed the life's work of Ospreay and Moxley by destroying the US and UK championships. So now we need this new title. Who walks out with the gold?
Ospreay.
I'm going to go with David Finlay. He needs it the most, and he's the only one who works for New Japan.
That is true. So, Dak, so Moxley is going to leave New York and then go to Japan?
Yep, they all got to leave on the 1st. Moxley and this man, Bryan Danielson, will go one-on-one with Kazuchika Okada on January 4th. It is the rematch from Forbidden Door. 2 times these men have been in the ring, and 2 times 2 things have happened. Bryan Danielson has won.
Yep.
Both times, and both times Kazuchika Okada has broken a body part of Bryan Danielson.
Oh my God.
First his arm, now his eye. He says it's an eye for an eye, an arm for an arm, and Bryan Danielson says he will break the Rainmaker arm of Okada so he never delivers a Rainmaker again. Who wins at Wrestle Kingdom?
Okada.
I'm going to go with Okada for the win because I don't know. There's only one person that has beaten Okada back-to-back in the past 5 years, and that's Shingo Takagi and, well, 2 people, Shingo Takagi and Kenny Omega. That's it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he's won. Daniel has won the other 2 times, so Okada got to win at home.
Yeah, he got to win it. He got to win in Tokyo. He said he embarrassed Japanese wrestling, so he got to make it back. And then finally, for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Sanada defends against his former leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón and the winner of the G1 Climax 33 tournament, Tetsuya Naito. Who you got?
I got Sanada.
Wow, that's surprising. A lot of controversy around Sanada and his promotion of this matchup. He's not shown too much emotion. He didn't even want to talk about the matchup at the last show New Japan did. He would rather talk about Doki's birthday. I'm going with Tetsuya Naito because Sanada shouldn't even be in this match. He should have lost the title a long fucking time ago.
Oh, wow. Sound like you mad, son.
I'm sorry. But yes, it's going to be a great show, and we got our preview that's going to be dropping this week. We'll have a watch along. We'll be up at 2:30 a.m. watch along for Wrestle Kingdom on Thursday, and then on Friday we'll have our review, and then we'll talk about it some more on the year-end awards coming up next Saturday. But finally, what we missed. Hard to Kill is coming up for TNA and TNA News. They officially announced the GYV. Yes, the grizzled young veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson, who have been all over the place in independent wrestling. TNA officially announced on Tuesday that the former NXT stars will make their TNA debuts at Hard to Kill on January 13th. On the pay-per-view, they will also appear at the Snake Eyes TV taping the night after. I hope this is an official signing because I really feel they are a missing piece to the tag team division because they got ABC, you got the Motor City Machine Guns, you got Subculture, you got the Rascals. You put GYV in there, you got one of the best tag team divisions out there.
I was just about to say they not only do they have the best women, now they have the best tag team.
Facts. They stepping up. Let's see what TNA gonna do something in 2024. But it's time for Krssi Love's favorite time of the show. It's time for Match of the Week. Before that, I want to see what you guys got to say in the chat. We got Big Man Dog saying Sanada on his AEW Cody Rhodes run. Sheesh. We got Nikki Boy who says Naito must fulfill his destino. We also got Frantic World. He says, I want Brian to win, but it's time for Okada to get the win back. We also got Brooklyn Beak. He says, what's the odds of which body part Okada is going to break in this match?
I don't. Oh God.
I'll put
I
it
don't want
at
nobody.
a-
I don't want nobody to break anything because I want them to still wrestle and be okay. Like I don't need nobody on the shelf.
10-1 odds. 10-1 odds.
10-1.
10-1 odds. Okada's going to break something, guys. Sorry.
Oh my God.
We got Big Man Duds. It says David Finlay for the Global Championship. El Desperado getting some love for the Junior title. ELP and Hikuleo getting some love for the tag team titles. Check out that interview, by the way. It's great stuff. Great interview. One of my favorites that I did this year. But then, match of the week. Krssi Love, we don't have too much to choose from because we only had Collision, Dynamite, NXT, ROH,
Stardom.
Yeah. So my 5 for the week, I'm not even gonna do honorable mentions because what do we do honorable mentions for? It was only like 4 shows. So number 5 for me this week, I'll go with Eddie Kingston I'll go with Bryan Danielson versus Claudio Castagnoli from last week's Collision.
Oh, the draw. Yes, that was good.
That draw was fantastic. Number 4 for me this week, I'll go with Saudi Anoy versus Mirai from Stardom. Then number 3, I'll go with the main event from Stardom Dream Queendom, Micah versus Suzu Suzuki. These two women have excellent chemistry together. I thought their tournament final in the 5-star Grand Prix was better than this matchup, but this match had a lot of emotion, a lot of drama, hard-hitting action. Go out your way to see it. Number 2 for me this week, the triple threat from Dynamite, Moxley, White, and Swerve. But number 1, of course, Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston, Dynamite.
Do I have 5? Let's see if I have 5. Okay, so 5 would be the match you sent me from Stardom, which is was that the main event?
Micah and Suzu Suzuki. Yep.
Yes, I'll have that as 5. 4 is going to be Danielson and Claudio. 3, I want to say, Brody and
Garcia.
I
love the finish. I love the fact that his new thing is getting chopped to death and then doing the dance to get it's just the greatest thing ever. The crowd just rallies behind him. It's so
They
great.
do. People don't want him to do it, but then they tell him to do it, and then he does it. So I think that's really good. Number 2 would be Eddie and Danielson, and then 3 would be the triple threat. 3. Number 1 is the triple threat, which is Swerve, Hangman, and Mox. So I did have 5. Wow, look at that.
Look at that. Good stuff. All right, and then finally we cap off the show with the World's End final predictions. We start with the 0 Hour pre-show. Krssi Love, you got on 0 Hour. It will be a 20-man over the top rope battle royale. Talked about it with Joe Hobart on our preview. I said I'm gonna pick someone.
Oh, was that 6:30? Wow, I thought it was at 7.
I was like, this is a match. I have to put on my Tony Khan hat. Who would he have win this, thinking it's a big win, only for them to lose on TV for the TNT title? Commander.
Okay.
Who you got?
I'll go Commander too, because I don't know who else is in the thing.
They didn't let us know. And then we got a battle for Long Island. Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. This was all put together really by the instigator, Stokely Hathaway. Look out for his cousin that works at AutoZone.
I love Stokely on commentary. They need to have him on there. What did he say that night? Damn, I can't remember.
He's like, my cousin worked at AutoZone, and then he twisted his ankle. You know when he got back to work? He was like, there was like 2 weeks. He was like 5 years.
5 years.
He's still getting the check. That was fabulous.
He is awesome. I love. He's a gem. I'm gonna go Willow.
I'm gonna go with Willow.
Willow should win. Chris doesn't need to win. Willow should.
Chris just lost to Sky Blue. I feel Willow wins here, and then maybe we get a Chris Statlander heel turn. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Then the buy-in main event is the FTW rules for the FTW
Ooh.
Championship. Hook versus Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta. Who you got?
I'm going Hook.
It's in Long Island. I'm going Hook. Then we got the results of the Franken segment on Dynamite. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara,
What?
Sting, and Darby Allin
Oh
versus Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Konosuke Takeshita. Who you got?
I would have picked the Hills, but Sting never loses, so I'm going to go with Sting and Darby for the win. The other two don't matter.
LOL, Sting wins.
Yep.
Grudge match time. It's finally happened. The Chronic 2 of AEW
The
is
Chronic 2.
dropping tonight. Swerve Strickland versus Keith Lee. Who you got?
Swerve for the win.
Oh, Swerve all day. I just hope that it's a great matchup and Keith Lee can find a role coming out of this. That's all I hope for.
I agree.
In a battle of everyone who wants to go back to WWE, it's Andrade El Idolo going one-on-one with Miro. I will say, Miro. I feel Miro will win because Miro always wins, and Miro doesn't wrestle unless he wins. But Andrade should win because Andrade feels much more over after the C2.
Yes. I think Andrade should win. However, Miro's promos have been great. But yeah, probably Miro.
I could see Buddy Matthews winning that 20-man battle royal because he's not on this card. I can see that.
That's true. I like that. I like Buddy should. Yeah, that's a good. And then he'll lose the TNT. Yeah, he'll give a great match. Yeah.
Then we got an 8-man all-star tag team matchup featuring the participants from the AEW Continental Classic representing the Blackpool Combat Club. We got Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. They team up with the MVP of the tournament in my eyes, Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
One of the better underdog stories of the tournament, Daniel Garcia, and they face House of Black's Brody King, Jay Lethal, LFI's Roosh, and the leader of Bullet Club Gold, Jay White. Who you got in this one?
I'm going with the Hills. Brody, Jay, and Roosh.
I'm going with the baby faces, and I'm going with Daniel Garcia to pin Jay Lethal for the win.
Okay. But how is Blackpool Combat baby faces, though? I'm confused.
They've been baby face. They've been heels. They've been tweeners a lot.
I'm about to say,
everyone
just loves them.
Garcia pins Lethal, and we get the start of Garcia finally joining the BCC after the match.
Okay.
Give me that. For the TNT Championship, 40 years in the making, Christian Cage defends against his best friend, Adam Copeland. No disqualification.
I think that no DQs. Ooh. Some way, I think Christian is gonna win again.
I'm gonna go with Adam Copeland here only because I feel like there needs to be a match where the stipulation is Copeland joins the patriarchy to become Uncle Adam. So if we need Christian to lose the TNT title for now to set up the bigger third match with that as the stipulation, I'm fine. So I'll go with Copeland.
All right.
Then we got next for the TBS Championship, Julia Hart defends against Abaddon.
Julia Hart.
All day, twice on Sunday.
Yep.
Timeless Tony Storm defends against Riho. I think this is going to be a really good matchup, but I got Timeless Tony Storm.
Timeless Tony Storm. Too bad I can't be in black and white because I would love to be in black and white. Maybe I'll wear black and white just in honor of her.
How dare you! And then we got in the finals of the AEW Continental Classic, it is Jon Moxley, the winner of the Gold League, versus the winner of the Blue League, the man who put it all on the line to make this Triple Crown Championship, Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, this is their third meeting in AEW, and Kingston has never defeated Moxley. Who do you got?
Kingston.
Kingston all day, twice on Sunday. It's New York. Give it to us. Let's go. Come on. I'm hyped. I'm hyped for Eddie Kingston. Give me Eddie Kingston. I don't care if you want the Swerve to win. I don't care. Give me Eddie Kingston. AEW World Championship up for grabs. It is MJF defending against Samoa Joe, a rematch from Grand Slam. But the real question here, Krssi Love, is not just who do you think walks out with the AEW World title, is will the devil be revealed and who will it be?
I think he will win, MJF. I don't think they will reveal the devil yet. I think they're going to string us along again. I would like them to reveal the devil, but I feel like Tony's not going to pull that card yet.
That would be the worst decision, maybe of the year for him, which is saying a lot because he's had a lot of bad decisions. But that would be the worst decision. If they don't have the reveal tonight, then they've totally shit the bed with this storyline.
What are you thinking, friend?
MJF unfortunately wins. I really want this Samoa Joe to win.
I want Samoa Joe has to take another L again. Like he keeps losing to all the guys. Like
I have not been as critical as everybody else about Max's title reign. I think that overall it's been a great title reign.
Yeah.
I think it's top 3 in the title's history. I don't know if it's the greatest, but it's in that conversation.
Correct.
But there's no denying that the past 2 to 3 months, and I feel ever since Adam Cole decided to jump off the ramp, it hasn't been as good as it was before he decided to jump off the ramp. So it might be time to switch things up. Maybe they get to that at Revolution. I got MJF winning here, and then the devil is revealed as Adam Cole, baby.
Okay.
He's the only one that makes sense.
He's the only one that makes sense.
The only one that makes sense at this point. But
we will
see. We will see what happens. We will see if the fellas are here tonight for the watch along as well. But we got plenty of content for you to join on the channel. But thank you, Miss Krssi Love, for joining me this Saturday morning and afternoon. Let the people know where they can follow you on social media and if anybody will see you tonight at World's End.
Yes, you will see me at World's End tonight. If you see me there, shout me out, hit me up. Other than that, you can follow me on IG, Twitter, and on Facebook. It's KrssiLove_1. I do fill-ins. Check me out with Stephanie Hypes for Know Your Role. I filled in with them last week for Queen of the Ring for Alex. So call me if you need me to fill in or be on your show. I'm available if schedule permits it. Great. Other than that, on Twitter is Tru Heel Krssi Love, and then check us out on our flagship show, which is Tru Heel Heat every Saturday, 11:05 a.m. See you next week for our award show, which will be great. I have to go put in my predictions. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We will be back here live, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, next Saturday morning for our year-end awards. The link is in the chat. It will be up on our community wall later today. It will be on social media as well. You'll have plenty of opportunities to vote on the 7th annual Tru Heel Heat year-end awards. We'll read those out next week. We'll talk about Wrestle Kingdom. We'll talk about AEW World's End. Maybe there'll be more Jericho drama for us to discuss, more fallout from Mercedes and WWE not talking. So join us here live next week for that. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. We'll have a review of honor up there later, as well as the Tru Heel Heat Prediction Championship, which we are extending to January to give Romeo time to do all his tallies and everything, because he has to tally up now the awards now. So we're giving him time. So we got until January, so you can join us for that. And ProWrestlingTees.com, ForYourWear.com to get your Tru Heel Heat merchandise. Check out right now our AEW World's End preview with myself and Joel Hobart. That is up right now. You can also check out our exclusive interview, Tru Heel's BTR Between the Ropes, with the strong openweight tag team champions, El Phantasmo and Hikuleo of the Gorillas of Destiny. We find out when ELP's contract is expiring. We found out about him having talks with AEW before signing with NJPW. We talked about Hikuleo's talks with WWE earlier this year. It is one of our best interviews of the year, so check it out. So for Miss Krssi Love, for the Stat King, the Stat Hubby, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. Everyone, enjoy AEW World's End tonight. Enjoy Wrestle Kingdom next week. This has been Tru Heel Heat 257. Money walks and talks. We are signing off until next time.
Later.